break. He hasn't been on TV or radio.
Shit, that's scary.
Yeah.
Did you get a flu shot? A flu shot? Yeah.
Him and his wife had it, he said. I know a bunch of people that were down with the flu over holiday break. Huh? So keep that out of my house.
No shit. I was lucky. I just got a cold.
Is Teresa on today?
I think so, but I haven't heard from her.
I never know when she's here or in New York now.
I know.
Because I'll see her post something in New York. And I'm like,
And she normally texts me and tells me what she's going to talk about, but she normally texts if she's not going to be here too. So I don't know.
Guys, just hit me up when you get down there. I'll just I'll show you anyway.
You don't say.
I don't know if a kid messed up and put the wrong thing in the machine, but like kicked out a Rockstar.
Yeah, so I didn't know how much time to do that.
Are they talking about the golf tournament at all?
oh, yeah, I'm talking about today. You can start pumping it up.
Progressive has the insurance company affiliate. Pricing coverage not limited by state law.
Sheepdog in theaters January 16th. I just want to wake up in the morning and feel something. U.S. Army veteran Calvin Cole confronts his past. Enter the tough letter.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Huh? No. Well, like I can't see the login screen or anything, but I know he was working on it.
Friday, January 16th.
And their names are not being given out for Hall of Fame coach Deion Sanders, who is currently coaching at the University of Colorado. If you attend the Hoffman Hospice's Voices of Inspiration in Sanders is the only person to ever play in both the Super Bowl and the World Series. And Hoffman Hospice says the money that is raised there will help them continue to care for people who are terminally ill. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. A mile away, you gotta get a post like this. You blow that brains all over your nice side, please.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERN Radio. Now the host you've been waiting all day for, live from the KERN studio. Here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing. For those subscribing on YouTube, it's the Ralph Bailey Show on a beautiful, sunny, blue sky Tuesday, 6th day of January. Chris Burdick is producing the broadcast. We've got a great show for you this afternoon. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, I believe Our former federal magistrate Judge Teresa Goldner will be with us. Normally, I get a text message previewing what she's going to discuss. But I'm pretty sure she's in town and will be with us in just a matter of minutes. Jeff Salters is opening yet a third Salty's Barbecue. He'll join us at 4 o'clock and tell us all about it. Tell us what's going on in his life, as so much is. And a big victory for parents, as a federal judge has ruled that teachers have a right to tell parents their child may be LGBTQ plus or transitioning. This is a gargantuan case. I'll chronicle that for you. And despite the fact that I don't believe it, folks in Western Europe believe that they are closer to peace. The Ukrainian allies, including the United Kingdom and France, have come to a security agreement, meaning that there will literally be British troops and French military on the ground in Ukraine if a peace agreement is settled. This obviously to ward off any further attempts by Russia, if in fact a peace is achieved, which I'm not very optimistic about. You know, we get these headlines that, you know, we're closer to peace than we ever have been, and we probably are. But until the third party involved, or really the second party involved, i.e. Vladimir Putin, stops firing missiles at residential areas and trying to solidify eastern Ukraine so we can move on Kyiv, I don't buy it. I don't think he wants peace. I think he wants Ukraine for reasons we've chronicled for years now. But I suppose if Western Europe gets off its behind and really supports this guy, unless they begin to attack Russia, this thing is going nowhere. Time is on Putin's hands, in my opinion. And he can just wait these people out. It is unfortunate. Got some other miscellaneous news and notes to get to. Nick Reiner is going to be arraigned tomorrow, the son of the late Rob and Michelle Reiner, who were killed in their Brentwood home, allegedly by their schizophrenic son. We'll get into that. And Jasmine Crockett, candidate for the Senate seat being opened by John Cornyn's reelection, although John Cornyn, the Republican, is being challenged by the Attorney General down in Texas and may not even survive the primary. Doesn't matter. Whether it's Cronin, whether it's Wes Hunt, an African-American military man that you might hear, I've got some audio I might play today of him. But regardless of who it is, the Republicans are going to win that seat because Jasmine Crockett is a joke. She's a cartoon character. Let me show you how much a cartoon character she is. She was on The View today. Did I send you any Jasmine Crockett audio, Mr. Burdick? No. I was just like, for what? For what? To illustrate how silly she is? And she had on her private school, I grew up affluent voice on today. She didn't have her, I'm trying to be ghetto, I'm trying to be a hood rat voice. I found that interesting. She played that straight with the ladies, but she said nothing of significance. And it wasn't even worth chronicling. So I left that alone. Get into that. And we did not get into the new laws of 2026 yesterday, so I'll try to get to that at the end of the broadcast. And did you hear the most recent firing? John Harbaugh, after 18 seasons, is out. Yeah, I did. I didn't until yesterday when I heard the comments by Lamar Jackson. I mean, that was a Magic Johnson move right there. Do you know what I refer when I say a Magic Johnson? Paul Westhead. Yeah, he got Paul Westhead whacked. And I think that's exactly when the quarterback of the team that you spent hundreds of millions on, at least for the next 4 or 5 years, says that I'm not going to give the coach a vote of confidence, that either one's got to go. One's got to go. Period. End of sentence. You can't have, they always point Chuck Noll and Terry Bradshaw didn't get along. Well, that was the 70s. That was a different period. It was a different era. You've got to have a solid relationship between the head coach and the quarterback. And if it goes sour, it goes sour. Meantime, the Raider search continues. I'm continuing to hear Brian Flores.
That is the name that's ramping up, but I feel like that's just because he's the Hawks mom.
I like Brian Flores. I think Brian Flores is a good coach. I think he got a bad shake where at Minnesota. Is that where he got whacked from? Miami. Got a bad shake at Miami. He's in Minnesota. But I just don't think we need a defensive coach right now. We had Antonio Pierce. The best coach we've had was our special teams coach a couple years back. What was his name? Rich Eisen, Rich Little, Rich, this ought to be Rich. I cracked myself up. Yeah, something like that. That's why. But yeah, that's why even if I knew it, I couldn't pronounce it. But the big question continues to be, who do we draft?
I know it's not the favorite.
Colin Cowherd is standing on his head, screaming Fernando Mendoza.
I know.
He is like, you have lost your effing mind if you don't draft this boy.
Bruce Arians came on McAfee today and said the exact same thing that I was saying yesterday, which is you got way too many problems in other areas that you need to address before a quarterback can come in and save anybody.
Well, I think that's why Max Crosby is on the trading deadlock, on the trading block, because we do need more than. But we did the same thing with Khalil Mack and got nothing for it. See, that's my problem. It's not the moves that they make; it's the decisions that they make. We're just a bad assessor of talent. We got a ton of draft picks, and we can trade Max and get a ton of draft picks. We can trade the number one and get a bunch of draft picks. I'm still afraid of the guys that are going to make the picks. Who knows? Who knows how much say he has? I don't know. They didn't fire the general manager, so who knows? All right, let's go get started. When we come back, you'll hear from Stephen Miller, which I'm in a haze on this Venezuelan thing now. I really am. Now that I'm hearing things from the White House, I'm glad Nicolas Maduro is out. CNN did a poll where in a day, the support for Maduro's abdication or abduction, whatever you want to call it, has risen 25%. And I attribute that to the internet. I think some folks did what I told you to do yesterday and Google this guy. Find out who this guy is. I told you, what's her name on The View? Ana Navarro. We've got some audio of her supporting this thing. And she's an alleged Republican, but more Democrat than conservative. So people are getting on board. But just as they are, Stephen Miller went on with Jake Tapper. And, they're talking about taking Greenland. They truly are. You'll hear from Stephen Miller when we come back. And then Teresa Golden will join us just a matter of minutes at the bottom of the hour. It is a Tuesday on the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRM, where we stream live at kernradio.com. Can you run yesterday's?
I can't run yesterday, but the one that's in there is relatively.
All right.
Another press conference. He's stepping down, not running for governor again. We talked about that with Michelle Tafoya, who is in Minnesota, lifelong resident there, and a sports figure as well. All that and more. Make sure you don't miss it. It'll be a Wednesday edition of Play and Buck.
You all know by now what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about. You know that I've turned on staff members who are extremely happy with being a client with Daniel. And I've told you, I've been a client for almost a decade now, and it is the single most important and smartest financial move I have ever made. If you're staring at retirement late in life and you're in the fourth quarter, call Daniel, 395-9400, 395-9400. Just keep it locked. Tune in every Thursday at 4:30 when it appears on the broadcast. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future, option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or MPWAE, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time, and we are under no obligation to update our views.
Amy Cox did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. And with that money, she decided to treat herself to an anti-aging red light mask. Will she look like a horror movie villain every night? Yes. Will her boyfriend Kevin be scarred for life? That's certainly a risk. But it's Amy's savings, and if she's willing to risk her relationship for smooth, wrinkle-free skin, well, bye-bye, Kevin. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Disappointment haunted all my dreams.
Is this part of the 60-year-olds? We got a theme show today. I told you we were going to change the music. Changing the music. Today, all of the songs that you will hear during the breaks, and what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Including this one from the Monkees, are 60 years old today, this year. You believe that? I mean, this just reeks of my childhood. I'm not old enough to remember the Monkees live. I saw them like in the 70s when they were on repeat on KCOP, which is now Channel 13. What is 13 in LA now? Is it still KCOP? No, it's, I don't know, whatever. Channel 13 when I was growing up. That's what we see the Monkees on. Meantime, I don't know. I'd love to hear from you guys. I really would, because I'm confused. Help me find a position on the Venezuelan situation, because Trump is saying that we are running the place. The regime is still intact. We don't know what is next. We don't know who is going to fill this void, whether Delcy Rodriguez can pull this thing off as the vice president, although she was a dummy of Maduro. The police chief is still ahead. The military people are still ahead. The crooked folks are still intact. And yet they are saying that we're running the place. Here's Stephen Miller talking about the mission itself.
The overwhelming share of casualties and fatalities that were inflicted were against the Cuban Guard that had exerted control over the people of Venezuela. So what many don't realize is that for years, Maduro stayed in power through an illicit deal with Cuban communists to provide his security because he didn't trust his own people to keep him safe. That is how much he was hated inside of Venezuela. So what our special forces encountered when they did that daring midnight assault into Caracas were armed Cuban guards, and they sustained massive numbers of casualties. I can't give you an exact number. The numbers that you've seen in terms of the Cuban guards publicly reported are probably lower than the actual number that were killed. To your first question, no, none of the, at least as I've been briefed, none of the injuries are life-threatening. Everybody is stable. And it just underscores the remarkable skill, precision, courage, and capability of our special forces.
It really does. I'm just praying that this does not give the Trump administration a big head. Because again, you've heard it. Trump's made allusions to Colombia. He's made allusions to Cuba. And as you'll hear in just a second, they're making direct allusions to Greenland. I thought that was kind of just something he was throwing out there to just, you know, kick the Democrats in the kidneys. But they're seriously talking about further incursions. I don't think it's an invasion, but it's certainly an incursion. Here is more on how they got in on Maduro.
Maduro was staying in a military fortress. In other words, since the United States had started amassing this armada under President Trump's leadership and direction, he'd increasingly narrowed the scope of his own movement. So he was sleeping in a fortress. And so he flew into Caracas. These special forces engaged in direct gunfire with elite Cuban guards, and every single kill was an enemy kill.
I didn't know this was as deadly as it was. I didn't know it was quite as dangerous as it was. I told you yesterday there were over 150 aircraft from 20 different air bases that descended on this place in Caracas. But he went on to talk about the president's statements. Tapper asked him about the president's statements in terms of us essentially running Venezuela.
What the president said is true. The United States of America is running Venezuela. By definition, that's true. Jake, we live in a world in which you can talk all you want about international niceties and everything else. But we live in a world, in the real world, Jake, that is governed by strength, that is governed by force, that is governed by power. These are the iron laws of the world that are saying since the beginning of time.
But in terms of day-to-day operations in Venezuela, that is acting President Rodriguez, right? It's not some sort of American emissary.
What I'm saying is, we'll keep going here, Jake. So I want to say what I'm saying, and you'll follow up. But what I'm saying is just one level above that, which is that by definition, we are in charge because we have the United States military stationed outside the country. We set the terms and conditions. We have a complete embargo on all of their oil and their ability to do commerce. So for them to do commerce, they need our permission. For them to be able to run an economy, they need our permission. So the United States is in charge. The United States is running the country during this transition period.
This is frightening on a couple of levels. Because now we are, in some respects, as guilty as Putin in some respects. We don't have boots on the ground. I don't know how he's saying that we're controlling and running things. And at a time when I was on vacation, that the Chinese were running exercises around Taiwan, what is to stop Xi from saying, okay, I respect the Monroe Doctrine, or the Donroe Doctrine, as Trump has to put his name on everything, including the damn Kennedy Center and anything else. So he's even trying to, take away the Monroe Doctrine, called the Donroe Doctrine, whatever the hell it is, our control of the Western Hemisphere. What is going to stop Xi from saying, okay, well, we're gonna control the Asian Pacific, and I'm gonna blockade Taiwan? This is really, really precarious, dangerous waters that we are traveling in. And I'm not sure, I'm not smart enough to tell you how it's going to come out. Maybe Delicio Rodriguez, who has shown some signs of capitulating and working with us, has an election. Maybe democracy takes seed in Venezuela. I don't know. But I do know there's some very corrupt people that are still in control. And the president even talked about having boots on the ground. And then the scariest thing that I heard was Miller ranting, listen to this, about Greenland.
I just wanted to reset, Jake, by making clear that it has been the formal position of the U.S. government since the beginning of this administration, frankly, going back into the previous Trump administration, that Greenland should be part of the United States.
And they're talking about using military force if necessary. During the interview with Tapper, Miller laughed and said, they've got 30,000 people. This sets a horrible precedent, in my opinion. This is incredibly dangerous. I don't know what to make of it. I really don't. I think there's obvious consensus among people that are using common sense and aren't filled with Trump derangement that it is an absolute positive that Nicolas Maduro is out of power and is sitting up there with Luigi Mangione and Sean Puffy Combs. That's outstanding. But what now? Is there a plan? And shouldn't the president address the nation and tell us what the Sam Hill is going on? And what are we doing? These subtle allusions on Air Force One or in the Oval Office about, you know, Colombia and Cuba is weak and they're willing to fall and et cetera, et cetera. What? And Stephen Miller, who is this crazy zealot, is talking about, well, there's no question that we're going to take Greenland. I'm just like, okay. As folks just fell off the rolls on health insurance, with the midterms now just months away, it just seems to me that this administration is absolutely obsessed with foreign policy and is absolutely doing nothing, it seems, to deal with kitchen table issues that are going to make or break the midterms, both in the House and the Senate. We have a great opportunity to maintain the Senate. I think the House is all but lost. There's another story that I'll get to after we talk with Teresa Goldner about another Republican leaving Congress. Doug LaMafia died at the age of 65. And I don't know if you paid attention or not, but Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation kicked in yesterday. With Thomas Massie fighting the president, the balance is essentially zero in the House. Teresa Goldner joins us next.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With us
Hey, hey, hey.
I'm Keith Peters in
Nice to see
Washington.
you. Happy
Individual
New Year.
accused of vandalizing the Ohio home of Vice President J.D. Vance and causing other property damage is behind bars.
I'm scared.
26-year-old William DeFore of
Yeah.
Cincinnati is charged with
that what
damaging
we're talking about?
government property, engaging in physical violence against property in a restricted area, and assaulting, resisting, or impeding federal officers after the incident around
You can
midnight
lower it.
Monday.
You can
The
lower
Trump
it. There you go.
administration has launched its largest immigration enforcement operation, deploying up to 2,000 federal agents to the Minneapolis area. This move began over the weekend and targets alleged fraud involving Somali residents.
Good, you killed it.
On
I
Wall
told you.
Street, the Dow by 484 points.
and
The
it's not
Nasdaq
funny.
rose for 151. This
It was funny.
is SRN News.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. If you've been following the story of the man shot and killed when he confronted two teenagers who police say had committed a robbery at Foods Company Friday night, the victim has been ID'd as 22-year-old
So what do you
Joseph
think?
Macias of Bakersfield, says the Kern County Coroner's office. Macias
Greenland?
was shot several times and died in the parking lot. The Highway Patrol says they caught 92 people not only speeding, but going more than 100 miles per hour over New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. That was part of the nearly 3,000 speeding tickets they issued over that enforcement period across the state. They also investigated
They're not
6
gonna
fatal
be
wrecks and
problems.
arrested 379 people for DUI. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality medical detox, psychiatric services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal management all under one roof. Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
On the next Armstrong and Getty show, why have the tariffs not caused more inflation? The answer is full of good news and bad news. Plus, the head of Harvard says, yeah, maybe just one side of the argument was not a good way to teach. Oh, good job.
So how's it going running Venezuela? We'll check in on that whole story. And is Greenland still a sovereign nation? Do we own that too? Next, Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Charlie Kirk Show. Weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
It's a Tuesday. That means the former Kern County Council, former federal magistrate judge, Judge Teresa Goldner, is live in studio. Thanks for filling in. You killed it as usual.
Thank you, Ralph. You know, I had such a fun time last week. It was really great. It's funny because I was nervous.
Yeah.
Very nervous, but it was more, I had more fun than I did being nervous. So it was great. We had great guests. I really enjoyed Frank Wildridge. He's a wonderful guy. And
Yeah,
then
nice, very nice man.
Tricia Bland came in here and told us about nutrition, diet, and adventure racing, which was really fun.
I missed that.
It's pretty crazy.
I'm gonna have to go back and check that out.
Yeah, the adventure racing is, I've never met anybody that did adventure racing before. This is, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of doing several different kinds of sports.
Really?
Including rappelling down mountains and going on swimming, biking, running, hiking, going down mountains, and all kinds of things. You name it, they did it.
Yeah, see, that makes no sense to me.
To do that,
None.
None
whatsoever.
I guess you have to have a certain
Yes,
set of
you
thrill
do.
genes.
Yes,
in
you do. Yes, you do.
You also
And
have to
I
be a
don't
really good
possess them.
athlete.
I don't know. That's arguable. That's arguable.
You were an athlete. You probably
I was
could have
an
done it.
athlete, back in the day. Back in the day. What else was I going to tell you? I forgot now. What else was I going to tell her? I totally forgot. But nevertheless,
If it comes to you, just let me
I'm
know.
sure it will. I'm sure it will. But no, you killed it. Everybody loved you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It was
Oh, I know what I
really
was going to
fun.
say. My next vacation day is April the 15th. Jackie Robinson Day. I'll be down at Dodger Stadium.
Is that an invite?
Yes, it is.
Do I get to go down to Dodger Stadium with you?
That I can't dictate. But
I'm
the
just-
chair will be open.
I accept.
And I'm pretty sure that's a Tuesday.
Oh, that would be perfect.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
pretty
you.
sure it's
I don't want to get in the way of
Wednesday.
your other guests.
Oh, it's a Wednesday?
15th is a Wednesday.
Oh, it's Wednesday. Oh, but that's open still because Howard doesn't want to come down here.
If Howard doesn't mind, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, Howard doesn't want to drive down here and do the show. So
Has he ever come down to do the show?
no.
Oh, Howard.
he lives up there by Keene. He lives way up the hill.
He was fun. I had him as a guest over the phone the first time I sat in for you.
Yeah.
He was really good. We talked about him being a federal agent and his experiences as a federal agent. I always wondered, what kind of job he had, because when you've talked about him before, at least since I've been here, you didn't say what he did. You just said former federal agent. So interesting. He's talking.
You didn't talk to him about his job working with Dean Martin?
No, I didn't talk about Dean Martin.
See, that's what I find fascinating.
I figured that you and he had talked about Dean Martin for a long time.
Well, we haven't talked about it enough, if you ask me. But I should, in fact, that's how we should intro that segment. He should just tell us another Dean Martin story.
Okay.
He tells us many.
He's great.
So you want to talk about Venezuela?
Yes. Can you believe what's going on down there? I have been going to the gym pretty steadily for the last 7 months.
Yeah.
And yesterday morning or day before, whatever day it was, when he had his court appearance, I guess it was Monday. They had the big screen TV up, and it was separated into 3 different parts, all going on at the same time. In the upper right-hand corner, they showed the reporters, they showed the guards, standing in front of the marshals, standing in front of the federal courthouse in Manhattan, waiting for this thing to start. And then when it was starting, a lot of pretty heavy police presence there.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the lower right-hand corner, they showed the UN Assembly having an emergency meeting talking about how horrible it is that they captured, kidnapped, whatever you want to call it, the Venezuelan president and his first lady. And then on the left-hand side of the screen was, of course, talking about the case itself and all of that kind of thing. So it was, it was all over the news on Monday, but it was just so interesting to me that you've got some people saying this is a terrible thing, some people saying this is a great thing, some people arguing international law about him being captured, some arguing that no, U.S. law applies. Very, very interesting. So it really intrigued me because the first thing I thought of was, how can we go down there in the middle of the night and snatch somebody from their home without any sort of international law incident or some type of a dispute over that?
We've done it before.
We have. And I always wondered, how are we able to do that? So I actually researched it. I've been very interested in that since.
Noriega?
Yeah, there's
Gaddafi?
A whole lot of them.
We've done it before.
But do you know why we can do that?
Why can we do that?
Do you know why? Have you ever looked into it?
No.
Well, it turns out that, I know you like the Constitution. Under Article 2 of the Constitution, that's the commander-in-chief powers that the president has. He has the power to protect American interests, including combating drug threats that kill thousands of United States citizens. And he has as long as it's a military operation and he's operating as the commander-in-chief under Article 2, he has the legal authority under the Constitution to do that. And then it goes back to, I know you like history, it also goes back to the War Powers Resolution of 1973, which allows the president to initiate military actions and report to Congress within 48 hours.
Right.
And he has a 90-day window also
Right.
to continue operations unless Congress disapproves it. So he has constitutional authority for that. But the question that I had was, what kind of judicial legal authority is there for them to come in there and snatch people up
Yeah,
and
that's
then
what I
bring them
thought
to
you were
court?
talking about, because I knew about
The war powers.
War powers and Section 2 of the Constitution, but I don't know the legal end of this.
Well, this is what's really interesting, at least to me, from a dive deep legally perspective.
Right.
There's something called the Kerr, K-E-R, Frisbee Doctrine, and it comes from 2 different Supreme Court cases. And it basically holds that any kind of irregularities in how a defendant is actually brought before the court, whether he's kidnapped, however he's brought into court, it really doesn't invalidate the jurisdiction of the federal courts as long as the underlying charges are valid, meaning that the trial can go ahead and proceed even if the capture breached international law. So it doesn't matter, we told you how you had the UN special meeting, the emergency meeting saying this is outrageous, this is illegal. All that is just like smoke blowing in the wind. It doesn't matter under the United States law. If it's illegal internationally, we have the right to do that under this Kerr-Frisbee doctrine because, you talk about due process, people have the right to have notice, opportunity to be heard, and all that sort of thing. All of that, the only thing that applies to are the court proceedings, not how you got that person to court.
Right.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I thought it was
And
fascinating.
it's the basis of the Monroe Doctrine, is it not?
Pardon?
It's the basis of the Monroe Doctrine.
I don't know about that.
Our domination of the Western Hemisphere.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. But you've got, that Kerr case actually goes all the way back to 1886. That's how long this has been kind of the doctrine of the United States. And the cases that come out, underneath it are really fascinating. One of them is, this is not the first time, as you talked about, the first time that the United States has done this.
Right.
Some of the other cases where we've done this before was in, there's a case called United States versus Alvarez Machine. And in that case, the Supreme Court applied this Kerr-Frisbee doctrine to uphold jurisdiction over a Mexican doctor who was abducted from Mexico by DEA-hired agents and brought to the United States for trial on charges related to the torture and the murder of a DEA agent.
Really?
That's one of the first, that's not the first time. But here, and in that case, the court ruled that there was an extradition treaty between the United States and Mexico. And even though it didn't explicitly prohibit kidnappings and abductions to get people out of the country, the Supreme Court found that the objection didn't bar the courts and the prosecutors from prosecuting, even though they were claiming that, Mexico protested and claiming that there were sovereign violations, because you have to respect the sovereignty of another country.
Right.
So the court said, nope, doesn't matter. As long, all we care about for due process purposes in our country, and that's what we care about, not the other people's due process,
The validity of the charges.
right, as long as the charges are valid and, the trial is fair and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's all we care about. And then you mentioned the General Noriega. Remember that was in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
And that
George
was
Herbert Walker Bush.
right. And they also relied on that doctrine for getting him out. Remember how they got him out?
Oh yeah.
I thought that was pretty shocking at the
Paratroopers.
time. Yep.
Paratroopers.
I mean, they forcibly removed him during an invasion and brought him to court, and they cited this Kerr-Frisbee doctrine to affirm their right to assert jurisdiction over him in the courtroom. And he tried to, he filed all kinds of motions to get out of it under immunity and sovereign immunity and claiming there were violations of international law. And the court said, so sad, too bad. We have the right to do it. There's also another one I thought you might be interested in. This was a case called United States versus Catala. That's a 2015 case. And that's where there was a motion to return to Libya a defendant who was captured by the United States forces in Libya for charges that were related to the 2012 Benghazi attack. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, remember the person who was charged with that? They actually took him out of the country through military forces and brought him to the United States. So that was
during the Obama administration.
That's right. And then there was also another one in 1990. This is one that you might remember. This is called United States versus Caro Quintero. This involved the abduction of a Mexican national, several of them, linked to the murder of a DEA agent. And they went in, the United States went in and took them back, grabbed them, just like we did with Maduro and his wife. Same thing. So this is not the first time that that the defendants have made motions to say this. There's sovereign immunity, meaning you have to respect the sovereignty and integrity of another nation. You can't come in and take our president away or take our officials away or take our citizens away. And the courts routinely deny those motions. So, I think that I think there already is a motion that's filed for the court to decide whether Maduro's charges should be dropped. I can tell you he has no chance of winning that motion. None at all, based on all of this. And sometimes whether there's an extradition treaty, that's going to matter too. But even in cases where we have an extradition treaty with countries, if we don't comply with the extradition treaty, the federal courts have routinely said, so sad, too bad, doesn't matter. Under this doctrine, we have the right to come in and take that person and snatch them. If you think that you were extradited wrongfully, your remedies are kind of diplomatic sort of remedies between the countries, or you can sue them in civil court for damages if you want to.
Good luck with that. Teresa Golder is our guest, as per usual, on this Tuesday. Tell us about Nicolas Maduro. CNN did a poll where support for his ouster has jumped by 25%. And as I said at the top of the show, I think that's due to the Ralph Bailey show, because I instructed the listeners, I said, Google this guy. Just Google him. Just find out who he is. And I think that's what people did overnight, not because of the Ralph Bailey show.
I'm sure
But I think that's exactly what they did over the last 24, 48 hours. They've looked up this guy and they realized, What a heinous, horrible, despicable, murderous, drug dealing, cartel leading terrorist he is.
Everything you said is correct times 1,000.
Yes.
He is a very bad man. And if you want to know the specifics of it, all you have to do is go to the United States Department of Justice's website. And on their website, they have a link to the indictment. There was a sealed superseding indictment that was unsealed. Of course, when they brought him to court, it had to be unsealed.
Right.
And it is, I printed it out. It's actually, I think, 25 pages long. It goes through all of the things that the United States government is saying about what he did and all these horrible crimes that he participated in, and as well as his wife was part of it too. And some of the examples that I want to tell you about were, for example, they talk about how he's part of all kinds of drug cartels. I mean, many, many, not just one or two, but not a dozen, but getting up there close to a dozen. I mean, and the type of money and the amount of drugs that were transferred, through him and by him, and people subject to his command are just absolutely stunning. For example, let's see, they talk about how they have directed terrorist attacks against the United States through using the drug money. They have sent tons and tons and tons
To Iran?
of drugs to the United States through other countries.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's not just cocaine, it's heroin as well.
It's heroin. Oh, yeah, but mostly cocaine,
Yeah.
but a lot of heroin.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about how through this group that he was kind of leading, that they ordered their members to kidnap and murder United States citizens and attack the United States interests in order to dissuade the United States from continuing its efforts to fumigate and disrupt their manufacturing and distribution of cocaine and cocaine paste in these different countries. They're telling people to go in and kill United States citizens on American soil. I mean, that's pretty bad. They also talked about some of the cartels that he was with. One of them was the Sinaloa cartel, and they talked about how they had plane loads with, I think one of them had 5 tons of cocaine on it that they actually shipped from their country into ours. Isn't that shocking?
Yeah.
I mean, the amounts are just beyond belief. And then they talk about different types of cartels, different names. Some of them I'd never even heard of before. And then they also talk about some of these groups, some of these gangs that we talked about earlier this year, like the, what is it?
MS-13.
Yeah, all of that. I mean, these are all listed out in this indictment, all the different ones that he instructed, participated in, encouraged, paid for, facilitated. He is at the heart of all of this stuff. I mean, the corruption and the drug trafficking and the murders and just everything. It just kind of blows your mind. I just didn't realize what a bad guy he was.
And I think that's half the country.
I think so.
If not more.
Well, I would encourage everybody to go to the Department of Justice website, click on the link, and read that indictment, because it will literally blow your mind.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
There's no way he's ever going to leave the United States, I don't think.
No.
At least not
Thank you,
alive.
Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
And even the Venezuelan people are dancing in the streets. They're
Some of them-
dancing in the streets.
Well, I understand.
Even
that.
the Cubans.
I think a lot of them are, or
Yes.
only some of them.
I think a majority. I think a clear majority wanted him out. They have destroyed, going all the way back to Hugo Chavez, they have destroyed what once was a thriving economy.
Oh, yeah.
And they have absolutely destroyed it. And it's just more evidence that socialism does not work.
Socialism doesn't work.
No,
Not at all.
never
It only
has.
works for those who are running it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree with you on that.
Man, it never has.
Do you know
History tells us anything.
Do you know what I kind of go back to something. You know what this indictment says that his wife did? The
What?
First Lady of Venezuela. They allege that she attended meetings where she and others accepted hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes to broker meetings between drug traffickers and the director of Venezuela's National Anti-Drug Office. And they were paying these monthly payments, these bribes to people, and they were receiving these bribes. I mean, the First Lady of Venezuela was involved in this, grabbing money and getting money for drugs and influence. Just shocking to me.
Yeah,
So when you see her in court, I remember when I was listening to this on Monday and watching it on TV, when you see her in court and they're talking about how she's physically, apparently she got injured.
Yes, they hurt her ribs apparently.
Yeah, they think she might have broken her rib. They're not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry that she got injured. I really am, but I'm not sorry that she's there.
Yeah.
Because I think that if even a little bit of what's in this indictment is true, they're both bad
Despicable
people.
human beings.
Bad people.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that President Trump did this. I was just hopeful that they did it right and they crossed all their T's and dotted all their I's in the way that they captured him. He told the federal judge when he was in court on Monday that he was kidnapped from his home in the middle of the night. Of course, to him it was kidnapping, but to us it's not kidnapping. We have the authority to do this. Yeah. And then the federal officials are also claiming that since he was not the legitimate president of Valenzuela, because he lost the election, but he stayed in power. And
Overwhelmingly lost.
Right. And
The
so
opponent won 70% of the vote.
that's right. And he ignored that and stayed in power. That doesn't make him a legitimate president of Valenzuela. And so even if he's not the legitimate president, and I don't think he is, then he's not entitled to claim sovereign immunity and immunity as the president of Venezuela. So I think that all of his defenses, at least to being in court and being prosecuted by the federal prosecutors, he's going to lose on all of those, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
And like I said, even a little bit of this is true in this indictment. It's pretty bad.
And the hypocrisy among Democrats is startling.
Are they supporting him? They can't
They are
possibly be.
criticizing the manner in which he was abducted. And they're the same people that in the past, and for everyone that's spoken out, you can find some audio or video of them saying that Maduro must go. We played some audio of Biden as a younger man saying that. I've got some audio of Chris Murphy, the senator, saying that. And now he's criticizing. It's all about Trump. It's all about Trump. If any other president had done this, they would be heralding him. They would be lauding him. They would be praising him effusively. But it's Trump, so it has to be wrong.
I agree with you.
That's all it is.
I mean, just because we talked about it, look at all those other instances where the government essentially did the same thing.
Did the very same thing.
And you didn't see that sort of, criticism of him
not at all.
I remember, I read briefly this morning that, you know who Sunny Hostin is?
Yeah, I watch The View every day.
She said that she was questioning whether or not he was properly brought to the United
Well, of
States.
course she is. That's what she does.
She's a
And
lawyer, though.
she's a former federal prosecutor.
She should know better.
She should absolutely know better, but that's not her shtick. She's on that show to be the uber liberal.
Well,
And she
she
stays
is.
in her lane, and she's always wrong. And it's astonishing because that show falls under the umbrella of ABC News, and how they allow her and Whoopi Goldberg, who is like the host, a comedian who doesn't know anything. In fact, there are rumors that ABC is about to get rid of her because she stepped
Sunny
in it.
Hostin or
No,
Whoopi?
Whoopi Goldberg, because she stepped in it so many times where she said that it's life is worse here for an African American than it is in where did she say, Chris? Wasn't Saudi Arabia? It was life is worse. Do you remember what she said, Chris? Chris isn't listening. Anyway.
Yeah, he's listening on his other ear.
She was comparing it to another country, and it was just absurd. And she stepped in it time and time again. And to have a lawyer on that panel saying these stupid things just is mind-boggling.
Yeah, I don't know if Sunny Hostin's bar license is active, but even if it isn't, I think she has a responsibility as a lawyer, someone with a law degree, to actually look up the law before you talk about it like that, especially in the big public forum like that.
Yeah.
To make people question whether or not he's properly in front of the court like that. Don't say that kind of stuff unless you're sure.
Yeah.
That's my view, and that's why I did my research.
I totally agree. Can I throw something at you real quick?
Sure.
That's kind of good news. Did you see that a federal judge has ruled that teachers have a right to tell parents their children may be LGBTQ+?
That's fantastic.
It really
That's
is.
really fantastic.
This could be the first domino to fall to end the stupidity.
Well, you know, it's funny how you think, you know, sometimes things go a little bit crazy and common sense gets thrown out of the window when things happen like that, and
Yeah.
kind of goes on and on for a few years. But then eventually it comes to court. Eventually it winds its way around, and common sense takes time sometimes, but it always, I think, comes out on top. And I think that's an example of one of them. I also read that didn't the somebody threw out, I think maybe it was the Ninth Circuit, I haven't read this case yet, threw out the ban on assault weapons, saying that it was unconstitutional.
Yes.
That's another example.
And a ban on and the ban on CCWs in certain counties that based on population.
That's right.
Which is crazy.
Do you think
But
it
they
should be
tried
based
that.
on population?
No, that's
unsilly.
insane. That's
Everybody has
as dumb as it gets.
everybody has the same rights regardless of whether you live in a big county or a little county.
And you cannot hide from crime.
No.
Crime is rampant in Beaufort, South Carolina, just as much as it is, maybe not as much, but there's crime in Beaufort as there is crime in Los Angeles, as there is in Bakersfield, as there is in Des Moines.
Yep.
Crime has no zip code, it has no population. And for them to try to claim, well, if you're in a large population, you should have a CCW, that's insane.
So are you feeling hopeful about the way that these cases are coming down now, finally, after, you know, Trump's been in office a while now and things are changing? I mean, our society, I think, is kind of going back to the way it was before we had Joe Biden in office.
Yeah.
And kind of the crazy policies that were enacted. I think now they're giving, there's a course correction going on. I mean, really extreme course correction, but it is generally being supported by the courts.
Right.
I mean, I looked up a couple days ago how many cases there have been filed against Trump's administration and policies, and it's over 400 cases that are floating around the federal court system right now. And for the most part, he has lost when he loses. The only time he loses is at the trial court level, and then they always appeal. And when they get to appeal, I would say 80% of the time they win on appeal. It gets reversed. So the trial court judges' rulings get thrown out. And then the rest of the time when they make it all the way to the Supreme Court, he's had a few losses up at the Supreme Court, but generally, you know, he's more on the winner's side than he is on the loser's side.
I'm more concerned about the geopolitics of this and what is going to happen in Venezuela. Like, what is next? Because the regime is still in power. And what if this turns into a junta? What if this turns into a military government? I mean, there are a lot of what ifs that still are out there that I'm concerned about.
So is the regime really still in power?
Yes.
I did listen to what Stephen Miller said.
Yes.
They're still in office.
Yes.
But do they have power?
We don't. We're not technically running anything. We don't have any boots on the ground there. I mean, I think they're depending on intimidation.
Well, didn't
the
his
fear of a reprisal.
We'll just have to wait and see what happens. I'm sure all eyes are on Venezuela throughout the entire world right now.
Yeah.
It's a hot spot. It's going to be interesting. But so far, I think the Trump administration and the Department of Justice are right on in their prosecution.
I agree 100%. Teresa Golden, everybody. Give you a little hand for filling in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ralph.
Quick time out. We headed to the 4 o'clock hour. It's TRBS on a Tuesday on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I'm sorry, I couldn't help but laugh. You can go back and listen. You can just
This is AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. House lawmakers are expected to vote this week on overriding 2 vetoes by President Trump. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
At the end of December, the president rejected 2 GOP-backed bills that had bipartisan support. It was the first time he used his veto pen in his second term. One of the bills, for a drinking water pipeline, was sponsored by Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert of Colorado, a longtime Trump ally who broke with the president over releasing the Jeffrey Epstein files. While the overrides could pass in the House, it's unclear if there would be enough votes in the Senate. Greg Clugston, Washington.
France's President Emmanuel Macron is hosting Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky for ongoing talks with EU leaders. towards security guarantees amid negotiations with Russia to end the nearly 4-year-long war. BBC correspondent James Waterhouse reports from Paris.
What senior Ukrainian and European figures want to discuss are concrete military promises to ensure Russia won't invade again, should an agreement be reached to stop the fighting. What they really want is the White House to underwrite such an arrangement. An advisor to the French President, Emmanuel Macron, has admitted to another goal too, to make sure the US does not abandon Ukraine. However, the agenda will undoubtedly be shaped by Washington's extraordinary intervention in Venezuela and Donald Trump's repeated desires for the Danish territory of Greenland.
An individual accused of vandalizing the Ohio home of Vice President J.D. Vance and causing other property damage is behind bars pending a Friday hearing. 26-year-old William DeFore of Cincinnati is charged with damaging government property and engaging in physical violence against property in a restricted area. More at townhall.com.
Oh, he held a news conference.
This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion. There's something about the feel of a gold coin in your hand and the way the light reflects off its intricate details that has always captivated me. Nick Grovich, AmFed's owner, turned that same passion into his livelihood. Nick began collecting coins as a teen, and that interest grew into a nationally respected business offering only the finest quality coins at the most competitive prices. But the truth is that although Nick is a rare coin dealer, he doesn't believe in rare coins. Rare coins do not make sound investments, but they do make dealers a lot of money. See, that's part of what I respect about him. AmFed specializes in buying non-performing numismatic coins and turning them into gold or silver investments that provide liquidity and perform competitively against the market. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
They hope to cut down on DUIs by effectively punishing the people who do it. I'm Chris Davis. A dedicated team of people, including prosecutors, is what the Kern County District Attorney's Office hopes to achieve with an $885,000 federal grant that is being voted on today by the Kern County Board of Supervisors at their meeting. The DA says the number of DUIs, people driving drunk or high, is surprising to even them, and this program would pay for perhaps more effective prosecutions of those cases. The Highway Patrol says they dealt with plenty of people driving drunk over the New Year's holiday enforcement period, which was over 2 days, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. They say they made 379 DUI arrests, but they also caught nearly 3,000 speeders and in total issued more than 5,400 tickets. They also say 6 people died in crashes over those 2 days. He decided to confront the crooks and was shot and killed for it. The man who followed 2 teenagers who police say had just committed a robbery inside the Foods Company on White Lane Friday night and was shot in the parking lot has been ID'd by the Kern County Coroner's Office as 22-year-old Joseph Macias of Bakersfield. The people who police say are responsible are both 17, and their names are not being given out for now. Coach Prime is coming to town. You'll get your chance to see and hear the Hall of Fame coach, Deion Sanders, who is currently coaching at the University of Colorado, if you attend the Hoffman Hospice's Voices of Inspiration in April. Sanders is the only person to ever play in both the Super Bowl and a World Series, and Hoffman Hospice says the money that is raised there will help them continue to care for people who are terminally ill. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Little bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Tuesday, 6th day of January. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com. We still got lots to do. We'll talk about that case that I alluded to late with Teresa Golder. Federal judge siding with most of us in believing that parents have a right to know if their teachers are aware that their children, the biological parents, and their children are or may be LGBTQ plus or transitioning. I think this is a huge, gargantuan ruling. We'll get into that. We'll talk about Ukrainian peace. Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, met with Zelensky, and they have forged, along with Macron in France, a security guarantee that would be, I suppose, a first phase of peace. I don't understand how these people can talk about peace without Vladimir Putin being involved. And I just don't believe that he wants peace, period. So we'll cover that nevertheless. And then at 5:30, we'll try to get to the laws of 2026. We tried to do that yesterday, didn't have a lot of time. And there's some other things to get to. Nick Reiner's going to be in court tomorrow. He's going to finally be arraigned. And Jasmine Crockett was on The View. I've got some miscellaneous audio that I wanted to play. But we were supposed to speak with Jeff Salters at this hour. And I just texted him and no, is he called or? That's weird. That is very weird. And the fact, oh, here he is. This ought to be Rich. Hang on. Why does my phone do whatever it wants? Oh, I just lost him. I'll call in, he says. Okay, we're expecting a call from Jeff Salters. Oh, there he is. Oh, you're calling him? Okay. Jeff has opened up a third store that he wants to tell us all about. And must have forgotten about it, but we got him on the Rogers Brandon Telephone Global Network. Our good friend, restaurateur, Arvin Bear, married his high school sweetheart. They've been married for almost 40 years. Our good friend, Jeff Salters. Did you just totally forget about me?
Well, I've been in meetings, man. It's been nuts today. I've been talking to people. I've been out to the property, contractors, and yeah, it's just been a ton of stuff. It's crazy when you build a building, how much work it is.
You think? You think? Yeah. Tell us about it. Where is the new location?
So the new location is out there. It's 3214 Coffee Road, which is we're directly behind, next to the Canes Chicken right there on Coffee County.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Canes. Yeah, so we're right there on the south end of that property. There's a beautiful property there, a drive-through pad, and we'll be, the schedule is 7 months. Actually, I left one meeting. I'm actually headed to another appointment with the general contractor to get the schedule that they're going to provide for me. That kind of tells me the outline of what they're doing. And yeah, it's just been just whirlwind the last couple of days, getting the groundbreaking done and just getting everybody lined up on our side of what we're doing, our people. And it's, man, it's exciting. It's,
I bet.
Went home last night, man. It was hard to go to sleep with so much excitement. We had a great time out there, and all my family, my friends, and I don't know if you saw some of the pictures, but
I did.
There's a photo of my grandchildren. My youngest son, Scotty, and his wife Kendall, they picked up little shovels for the kids, and so all the grandkids, they had their own little shovels for the groundbreaking. Cutest stinking pictures ever, man. It was incredible. So but that's the family side of it, right? It's
right.
It's a family business. We're here. We're local. We're involved, and some people, like, don't bring your kids, don't do that. This is who we are. It's our family. We care about our community, and we want to continue to serve our community and give and do everything that we can to make it the best community that it can possibly be.
Yeah. Any differences in the third restaurant from the first to the second, or are you just trying to duplicate what you've done in the past?
Wash, rinse, repeat, man.
Yeah.
We are, the food's going to be the same. I jokingly, when I get to talk to people, sometimes I tell them, one of my goals is to be considered like Chick-fil-A or In-N-Out of barbecue, right? Those successful small business, successful restaurants, especially in this fast service side of the industry that we're in, are the true success is built in consistency and quality and just service, right? And so, you're not going to go to Chick-fil-A and say, can I get a cheeseburger, and try to convince them that they need to add a cheeseburger because everything else is good.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we're just trying to, our goal is to get in that lane that we operate in the barbecue lane, and just to be able to make that work and do it to the best of our abilities over and over, and provide a great atmosphere, a great time, and a great place for people to come hang out and enjoy their time with their family and enjoy a meal.
Yeah. What are the go-to meals at your place? What's most popular?
So probably the most popular meal that we sell is our tri-tip and chicken combos. Our tri-tip sandwich is, the top 5 would be our tri-tip and chicken combo, ribs, our salty special, and then the number one seller for our sides is our spicy mac and cheese.
Yes.
We sell. We make a ton of that stuff. It's incredible.
Yeah, love the mac and cheese. I really do. Yeah. And tell the story. I don't want to keep you long. I know you're on the way to a meeting, but tell the story how this thing got up on its feet. It's a miraculous story.
Oh, I love to tell the story, Ralph, because I think, I've talked to so many people that, everybody's got a dream, right? They got this dream. I mean, I want to do this one day. I want to, whatever it is, you fill in you fill in the blank. I want to be and on my own, or whatever that number is. And I was that guy for many, many years. And we drove by the Rosedale store one night and saw the for rent sign. And my wife and I turned around and made a phone call and talked to the owner of the property. A few weeks later, not weeks, literally the next day, I start calling friends and family, dialing for dollars, see if people would, loan me some money to open this business. And, on $40,000 of borrowed money from friends and family, we opened up Salty's Barbecue October 8, 2012. And in May or June of 2013, 14 that year, we paid them off, and we've just, been growing and going. And it's just an incredible experience to go literally, being broke. I had nothing. My wife and I tell people this, that as a story of hope, right? Not a story of shame or embarrassment. So we were broke. I mean, it was taking everything we had. I was a commission salesperson to try to make ends meet. And so we were unable to put any dollars in toward the first building, and to get people to believe in you and trust you and take a risk, right? Because, you can believe and you can trust and you can hope, but at the end of the day, it's still a risk. And people took that risk on us, and hey, it's paid off.
Yeah.
We were able to pay all our friends back and family, and they made their interest. In fact, we paid them 8% interest on their money. They made good money on their money.
We're talking with Jeff Salters, owner of Salty's Barbecue. What prompted a second, let alone a third?
So so the fun thing about the second location, I was working out. I was at the Rosedale store working, and a buddy of mine, it was our sign guy at the time, had a mutual friend who owns the property there at the train car on White Lane. And he said, hey, this guy's, there's an opportunity coming up. The business is there shutting down, and the owner wants to know if you're interested in taking the spot over. And so we got in his truck because, the business was still open and it was another barbecue place, and I didn't want to roll over there in my truck and, be sitting in their parking lot. Kind of weird. And so we went over and looked at it and kind of eyeballed it and, kind of spitballed how I could do things and make it where I want it. And we threw it at them, through the idea and the plan. And next thing you know, within probably 2 or 3 months, we were signing the contract and getting ready to open our second location in 2014. And it was like, wow, they didn't have that. Like they said, didn't have that on my bingo card.
Yeah, no kidding.
And so, we've been there since 2014. So it's been, what are we now? 11 years?
12 years, yeah.
Yeah. And then, we began looking for something for Rosedale because Rosedale is a great spot, but we've outgrown it. And it's really not feasible to buy it. The guy that owns it doesn't want to sell it because he's an old guy. He doesn't want to pay any taxes. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I get it.
Right.
And so we got to look around for something that we could expand in the area and still continue to be, in that area, but offer a bigger restaurant with a drive-through and patio dining and all those things that we wanted. And so it's probably been 2 years ago that we started this. 2.5 years ago, we started this process and came across the location there on Coffee Road and began to work with the Mariani family owns that and good people, and we had to work with them and our leasing agents on both sides, and we're able to put together a deal that was amicable for both of us. And I signed literally it was a year ago that I signed the lease, and so this we've been working this long to get to this place. In fact, it's been over a year ago. It was December of last year that we signed the lease. And so from designing to getting to the city for the planning and the inspections and just good night, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I bet.
But here we are, like you say now, and all that work is done, and now it's like it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah. And that's cool that you're going to have a drive-through. Is this going to be the largest of the 3 stores?
Yeah, it'll be the largest of the 3 stores. It's going to be incredible for us, man. It's like I said, the drive-through, the big patio on the backside. So what we need to do is we need to plan it so when we do our grand opening, shortly thereafter, you need to come out there and do your show from the restaurant.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome, man. Have you out there and interview some folks and just have a good time right there, on the spot.
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, congratulations. Proud of you. It's exciting. I know you must be thrilled, and continued success, my friend. Continued success.
Rob, I appreciate you and your listeners and all the support. And like I said, you and I have had a lot of good times together on some honor flight trips, and we got it's just doing everything together, man. You're a great supporter of our community and of us, and just the businesses in this community that continue to grow. And we appreciate you and all you do. And American General, you guys are great supporters of us, so we appreciate it. And look forward to having some fun.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Love you, Pop.
Okay, take
Talk
care,
to you
my friend.
soon.
Have a blessed night.
You
Happy New
too.
Year.
You too. Take care. Jeff Salters, Salty's Barbecue, opening up a 3rd store. I know a little 9-year-old will be pretty happy about that. Lily Flores, right down the hall, is a huge Salty's Barbecue fan. She's got great taste in food. She's a big KC Steakhouse fan as well. Quick time out. We'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. Our phone number, 842-5376, 842-KERN. Bottom of the hour, we'll get into a federal decision that is finally making sense when it comes to teachers knowing about your children preference or even gender preference. We'll talk about that situation in the 5. You're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on AM 1180 KERN, where we stream live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we'll see if our friend Dr. Vip Dev is back from curing people in Africa. If he is, we'll talk medicine. John Cox will be here with the news quiz. And we'll back all of that up with state-of-the-art news and traffic and, yes, weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96. KernRadio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, if you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans. Time, switch, and get your second month free. .com or a store near you and get your second month free today. $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
You still thinking job change in the new year? Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy. IT? Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI. That's what I did. Really? How? Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there too to level up. Sweet. Are classes online or on campus? Both. Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Sniffles and sneezes got you down? GoodRx is here to help with big savings on commonly prescribed cold and flu meds. GoodRx is free and easy to use. GoodRx is accepted at all major pharmacies like CVS, Walmart, and Walgreens. Just search your prescription, find a coupon, then show your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx is not insurance, but it works whether you have insurance or not. If you do, GoodRx may beat your copay price. Download the free app or visit goodrx.com to save today.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, may I ask a few questions?
Yeah, of course.
Do you have any pets?
Yes, we have a dog.
Great. Do you have a pool outside?
Nope, just a big old backyard.
Nice. Another question. Are there any unlocked guns in the home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, let's just talk about what we can bring for dessert.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
No, it's gonna make it that much better when we can say goodnight and stay.
I forgot to pay attention to the music today. Everything we were playing today is 60 years old this year. Isn't that incredible?
Everything I played yesterday was too. When you had told
I
me the
didn't send
theme,
it to you.
when you had told me the theme before the show, I had looked up a list of my own.
Oh, you should have told us that.
I did. I told you that at the beginning of the show.
I wasn't paying attention.
Oh,
Maybe you heard that. Maybe I thought we were talking about today.
probably.
But yeah, I sent him a list of songs that turned 60 years old. And that's old, believe me. 842-537-6842 KERN. What do you got?
Mary Marcus wants to know where Christmas Snoopy is.
I don't know. I keep telling you, everything that I ordered, like on the 15th, still has not arrived. I ordered 2 sweaters. I ordered this special spray that's supposed to get gunk out of your bathroom. I went nuts. I saw so much. They have a mark in Ralph Bailey. I ordered so much crap that I can't even. There's some stuff I can't even tell you about. All right, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I ordered this thing that's. No, I can't tell you. I can't tell you. For Hoo-Bah, for bad breath. It's like a special spray, and I was like, "Oh, what the hell? Can't hurt. Can't be worse than the black smoke that's coming out of my pie hole." So I ordered that. I ordered 2 sweaters. I ordered the Snoopy thing. I ordered this ridiculous calendar, a Smokey and the Bear calendar, where every month is a classic Jackie Gleason statement. First thing I do when I'm gonna get home is punch your mama right in the mouth, and none of it has arrived. No, the Hoo-Bah stuff has arrived. but I'm still not using it. But that's the only stuff that's arrived. No Snoopy. Believe me, when Snoopy gets here, he'll be sitting right back there. And I've shut down the Christmas stuff. I felt bad. I drove through Westchester last night, and I noticed that a lot of the lights were already down. Because normally in Westchester, they keep them up to like February. They're like, damn, we paid a lot of money for these damn lights. We'll keep them up to damn Black History Month. But I saw a lot of them were down, so I was like, all right, it is about time. 2025 is in the rearview mirror. What else you got?
What if the Raiders picked up John Harbaugh and Tom Brady should step up in the GM position?
Don Kessler, is that Kessler? Because he texted me, Harbaugh to the Raiders, ? Fingers crossed. I'm not sure if we want Harbaugh. I think we need a young, offensive head coach. The reality is, this is a 3-point league. You know what I'm saying? Do you understand what I mean by that? That this isn't 80s, 90s basketball where you had to go to the hole and you had to get beat up and, you took maybe as a team 7 or 8 threes. Hell, now players individually are taking 7, 11, 12, 15 threes. Well, it's the same thing in the NFL. It used to be about defense wins championships. To a certain point, that's still true. You have to make stops when they've got the ball with 1:27 left with 3 timeouts. You got to be able to make stops. You have to be able to make stops. But it is a quarterback-driven league. If you slap the quarterback on the head, literally, it's 15 yards. So if you can, that's the focal point of the football team. You cannot win deep into the season without a good quarterback. That's why I don't like Texas this weekend. Texas is a really good football team, but I just can't buy in on their quarterback. And I just think at this point, this is how you select winners. You pick the better quarterback. And I'm just not sure about Mendoza, but I think that's the best we can do. We'll see what happens. But I think if you pass on Mendoza and he goes and stars, you look like an idiot. And if you draft him and he's a bust and you could have gotten so-and-so and so-and-so, and the 4th and the 5th and the 7th and the 8th pick end up stars, you look like an idiot. I'm not smart enough to tell you who we should draft, to be honest with you. I don't know that much about football. And the scary thing is I don't think the Raider organization does either. That's the scary part. What else you got?
I have a theory that Mark Davis is completely satisfied with making money off of selling tickets to the visiting fan bases. He knows that the Raiders suck, but the Chiefs, Broncos, etc., all their fan bases can book a trip to Vegas for a guaranteed win.
We have the largest population. We have the largest turnout. We won 3 games, and we had the largest turnout. And Chris has stumbled staggeringly, haphazardly why that is, because if you play for the Tampa Bay Bucks, and you're playing the Raiders, your whole family wants to go.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Your wife is like, what? This is Vegas weekend? Baby, I'm going. I don't give a damn.
Well, better way to end your Vegas trip than with a win.
Thank you. The families go. The fan base goes. It's Vegas. And it's one of the great, as Chris and JR can tell you, I don't know firsthand, but it's one of the great stadiums in all of the NFL.
So nice.
In all of sports, really.
So nice.
And it's Vegas. And a football game. Are you kidding me? We won 3 games and we led the league in turnout. Crazy. Quick timeout, back half of the 4. I would stick around if I you.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SLN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Michael Reagan, the eldest son of President Ronald Reagan and a conservative commentator, has died. He was 80 years of age. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute announced his death in a post on the social platform X on Tuesday, calling him a steadfast guardian of his father's legacy. His cause of death was not immediately announced. Reagan was a contributor to the Newsmax television network and was known for his talk radio program, The Michael Reagan Show. President Trump says on his social media site that interim authorities in Venezuela will be selling 30 million to 50 million barrels of high-quality oil to the U.S. at its market price. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 484 points, the Nasdaq rose 151. This is SLN News.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. The Kern County Board of Supervisors is voting today on whether to allow the district attorney's office to use $885,000 in federal grant money to build a team specifically to prosecute the county's inordinate number of DUI cases. That would pay for the team through September. Meanwhile, the Highway Patrol says they made 379 DUI arrests across the state New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. They also issued more than 5,400 tickets. The man shot and killed, police say, by a 17-year-old robber at Foods Company on White Lane Friday night has been ID'd as 22-year-old Joseph Macias of Bakersfield, shot multiple times, says the Kern County coroner. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I was always tired, sleepy, and had no energy.
I had relentless, debilitating headaches.
Valley fever has many faces and impacts people differently. If you have a lingering cough, fever, or painful breathing for more than 2 weeks, talk to your doctor.
I am Quan Louie.
I am Bryn Harrigan.
And we are the faces of Valley Fever.
Visit KernPublicHealth.com to learn more.
Wednesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We will break down the ongoing scandal in Minnesota. Tim Walz, another press conference. He's stepping down, not running for governor again. We'll talk about that with Michelle Tafoya, who is in Minnesota, lifelong resident there, and sports figure as well. All that and more. Make sure you don't miss it. It'll be a Wednesday edition of Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
There's a man with a gun over there.
Yeah, he's going to be pissed.
Telling me
the advertiser's going to be
I think it's time we stop. Children, watch that sign. Everybody look what's going down.
Yeah. 842-KERN 842-5376. And the current studios are powered by Adaptive Networks. For your IT needs, call Adaptive Networks at 661-241-0638 or online at adaptive-net.com. And the owners, our good friends, are going to be live in studio with us tomorrow. Coming up, I believe, in the 5 o'clock hour. Adaptive Networks, the fuels AGM. 842-5376, 842-KERN. As I talked about earlier in the broadcast, a huge federal decision came down. This from the Los Angeles Times. A federal court ruling has affirmed the free speech and religious rights of California teachers who want to tell parents about how their child is expressing gender identity at school, a victory for conservatives and parents' rights advocates that stands to rewrite state school policies if upheld. In his late December decision, U.S. District Judge Roger Benitez concluded that federal law allows school employees to notify parents of, quote, gender incongruence, end quote. School staff members, he wrote, are free to make a personal decision to contact a parent with information about the possible LGBTQ plus identity of the child. And what has been the stance by many of the schools is that the parent is the bad guy, that they have to protect the child from the parent, which is absurd. it is insane that in the 21st century, we're implying that a teacher, a stranger, a faculty member that knows nothing about this child beyond the hours that they spend with them. I mean, this isn't like private school elementary where you have a homeroom teacher and they teach everything. I experienced that in 6th grade at a private school where you were in your homeroom and you never left the class. But then once you go across the street or go from 7th to 12th grade, it becomes more collegiate and you go from class to class and different teachers. And so the amount of exposure is limited. So how in the world can these people have this kind of say? It's absolutely antithetical to common sense and to everything that we were ever taught and raised on, that the parents are the bottom line. His court order also bars school districts from, quote, misleading parents related to, quote, their child's gender presentation at school, because that's what was going on. Some of these teachers were covering for these kids. You know, the kids would leave dressed like a certain way. My nephew did this when he first had to go to private school. He would dress up in his uniform and then try to change clothes. It's like, have you gone crazy? And then when he went to public school, he was doing the same thing, where they teased him for, dressing like a nerd, because my sister would dress him in khakis and a polo shirt or a dress shirt. And he would have clothes in his backpack and would change into some jeans and things like this. And yet these school employees would cover for these kids that would dress at home as a boy and then change into their female clothes once they get to school. School employees are prohibited from, quote, directly lying to the parent, preventing the parent from assessing educational records of the child, or using a different set of preferred pronouns, names, when speaking with the parent that is being used at school. Quote, California public schools may be gun-free zones, but they are not First Amendment-free zones. That is brilliantly written by this judge. Let me read that again. California public schools may be gun-free zones, but they are not First Amendment-free zones. Benitez wrote in a 52-page ruling that accompanied the court order, quote, religious teachers face an unlawful choice between sacrificing their faith and sacrificing their teaching position. He added, because the state defendants' parental exclusion policies demand that teachers communicate misrepresentations or deceptively avoidant responses to parental questions, which in turn violate the constitutional rights of parents. Thank you, Jesus. This type of government speech may not be forced upon teachers who conscientiously disagree. Thank you, Jesus. This is about to come to an end. The courts are finally getting involved, whether it has to go to the Supreme Court. Common sense is finally settling in our school districts. And we've made progress on phones. You know, Australia was really the first domino to fall, banning phones completely from these schools. We're starting to work on that in the United States. We're starting to work on that in California. It is about time that we as a society get a hold of our society by the lapels and shake the hell out of them. It really is, because we have gone astray in terms of letting down our children, not giving them the moral compass that they deserve, allowing them to make life-altering decisions at teenage years and younger, being influenced by their teachers, their liberal teachers, who have no idea who this child is beyond the couple of hours they spend with them each week. And yet here you are as a parent trying to groom this child, and yet you have to battle your social studies teacher at your student's elementary or junior high or high school. It's insane. It makes absolutely no sense. And this is a gargantuan decision that is going to change life as we know it. Because I don't see this thing being appealed. Of course, the state is going to appeal, but I don't see this thing. I think the further up it goes, the more chance we have of victory. And ultimately, if it has to, I don't think it even has to, but if it does, go to the Supreme Court, and we know that's a 6-3 victory, an absolute 6-3 victory. This is a great day for America, in my opinion. It really, really is. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What else you got on the board?
Let's see. Agreed, Ralph. What happened to America First?
I don't know. I don't know. It seems like somehow the president has gotten drunk on his foreign affairs success. He made a comment today where they asked him about some of the things that he's doing in Venezuela and allusions to Greenland and Colombia and Cuba. And he said, MAGA loves it. MAGA loves me. MAGA loves everything I do. Okay. That just scares me. And the idea that he's not ruling out troops in Greenland, that he's not ruling out troops in Venezuela. How in the world are we going to invade Venezuela? Like literally? Are we going to have boots on the ground? Are we going to inhabit Venezuela? We're going to make that what, a satellite base? We can't run Venezuela. We can intimidate them. We can try to turn them, but we've gone down the regime change alley, and it hasn't really worked out that well. It really hasn't. I think there's a possibility for democracy. I truly do. I think this woman, Delcia Rodriguez, is willing to, I think she's accepted the fact that I could be next. And Trump has Trump has said that. I was going to say all but said. No, he said that. He's flat out stated that in fact that her fate would be even worse than her successor, or her predecessor, I should say. But the regime is still intact. And how we go in and run things, Stephen Miller, we played the audio where he's saying, in fact, let's play it again, where he's saying, basically, we are running things in Venezuela.
What the president said is true. The United States of America is running Venezuela. By definition, that's true. Jake, we live in a world in which you can talk all you want about international niceties and everything else. But we live in a world, in the real world, Jake, that is governed by strength, that is governed by force, that is governed by power. These are the iron laws of the world.
But are you saying
since the beginning of time?
But in terms of day-to-day operations in Venezuela, that is acting President Rodriguez, right? It's not some sort of American emissary.
What I'm saying is, we'll keep going here, Jake. So I want to say what I'm saying, and you'll follow up. But what I'm saying is just one level above that, which is that by definition, we are in charge because we have the United States military stationed outside the country. We set the terms and conditions. We have a complete embargo on all of their oil and their ability to do commerce. So for them to do commerce, they need our permission. For them to be able to run an economy, they need our permission. So the United States is in charge. The United States is running the country during this transition period.
He scares me. I'm sorry. Stephen Miller scares the crap out of me. He really does. I don't care if he's on our team. Zealots scare the living crap out of me. We're not dictating what's going on in Venezuela, and I don't think we ever will. I think we can influence, but the fastest way we can blow the midterms, the fastest way we can see a president from the Democratic Party in the White House in 2029 is to put boots on the ground in Venezuela. Because you're going to hear Marjorie Taylor Greene join Democrats. You're going to hear a number of disgruntled Republicans peel off and support the Democrats in not having American men and women in harm's way in Venezuela or Colombia or even Greenland for that matter. Although I think a regiment out of Fort Ord, a bunch of Marines could probably take Greenland. I think they have a population of 30,000. Hang on a second. Hey Siri, what's the population of Greenland? 56,000 people in Greenland. So what do you think their army is made up of? It wouldn't take much, but that is frightening. And again, this sets up a premise for other leaders like Xi to justify his invasion or blockade of Taiwan. That to me seems almost inevitable at this point, based on what we're doing, based on our inability to stop what Putin is doing in Ukraine. An invasion or a blockade of Taiwan. They had tests during the vacation while I was gone. They had they ran test maneuvers, they ran blockade maneuvers. That seems almost inevitable. And this kind of, we can do whatever the Sam Hill we want foreign policy just makes it conducive, creates a conducive atmosphere for Xi to justify blockading Taiwan, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back, check the board again. We'll talk about Doug LaMalfa, the 2nd District Congressman out of Oroville, who has passed away at the age of 65. They have not released a cause of death, but we'll talk about what impact that's going to have on this Congress as the majority for the Republicans gets tighter and tighter and tighter. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
Adaptive is right here.
And Getty Show, why have the tariffs not caused more inflation? The answer is full of good news and bad news. Plus, the head of Harvard says, yeah, maybe just one side of the argument was not a good way to teach. Oh, good job.
So how's it going running Venezuela? We'll check in on that whole story. And is Greenland still a sovereign nation? Or do we own that too? Next, Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I was just telling you guys that the folks from Adaptive Networks are going to join us tomorrow live in studio. And you know, when your business technology breaks down, you need help fast. You need it from people who understand your local market. And that is the folks from Adaptive Networks. Adaptive Networks isn't some faceless call center in another state. They're right here in our community. In fact, they're right across the street from us here in our business complex with local technicians who know Kern County business inside and out. So much so that, again, as I just told you, American General Media depends on Adaptive Networks for our IT. If our IT goes down, you hear nothing, and we're completely out of business. That's why we've partnered with the good folks of Adaptive Networks. And while other IT companies make you wait hours or even days for support, Adaptive Networks delivers lightning-fast response times. We're talking minutes, not hours, because when your systems are down, every minute counts. And again, nobody knows that better than a radio station. And again, that's why American General Media has chosen Adaptive Networks as our IT team, as you should as well. Call them today at 661-241-0638. That's 661-241-0638.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Norma Diaz, owner of La Rosa Fruit Bars and Ice Cream.
Hi, I'm Norma Diaz from La Rosa Fruit Bars and Ice Cream, and I'm a client and friend of Paul Sheldon. I've known Paul for many, many years, and my parents happened to be his first clients. So, of course, I called Paul and immediately felt this peace come over me, knowing that I didn't have to freak out about making a big decision. His knowledge about Medicare and your health insurance needs are beyond compare, and I was taken care of immediately by his wonderful staff. He knew everything that I needed and what I wouldn't need, so I was pretty much in and out of there in record time. If you're getting to that age or you're going to be needing to know about Medicare, then he's the one to call. He will totally help you out and get you pointed in the right direction. You're going to leave there feeling a great accomplishment and no concerns. And even if you have questions later, his staff can help you out. Those feelings are just priceless to me. So call Paul. You'll be glad you did.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Ready? Go. Okay, doctor. Operation. No, hurry, time's almost up. Okay. The most amazing care. Oh, Betty. Oh, I know. China. Time's up. Okay, our turn. Ready? Go. They changed my life. Harvest Hospital for Children! Because people just like you, kids like me, can play in the game of life. I can do things now that were impossible before. I can draw.
I can play basketball.
Thank you. Gracias. Thank you. Go to lovechurch.org right away. Thank you.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Please don't leave me, girl. Now I know a crying man is half a man with no sense of pride. But if I have to cry to keep you, I don't mind weeping if it'll keep you by my side. Keep you by my side. You ever cried over a girl? You have? Oh yeah. Really? How old were you? A couple of weeks ago?
No, it's not crazy. Well, high school definitely. So probably about 17, 18. But
wow,
that was my high school sweetheart. Then when I broke up with her, when she went off to college, all that type of hoopla. So actually, I might have been 19. Actually, now I'm thinking about it.
I have never cried over a woman. I have never cried over losing a job, which is weird. I cry about. I only cry about familial stuff. I don't cry. I mean, I'm a cry baby. I cry at the drop of a hat, but it's based on familial stuff. You should have seen me in the Tommy's parking lot. We should have gone to In-N-Out.
I have failed you.
I have failed him. I have. You got to get him young, I suppose. You can't get him at like 19, 20.
I just don't understand how anybody could choose In-N-Out over any other burger place. I really don't.
It's okay.
It's not.
Did you see the opening in Tennessee?
Did not.
You know, she's taken them. She's moved out of California,
right? And she's taking them to Texas, all over the country,
and the East Coast. And they opened one at Tennessee. They open at 10 o'clock, as they do out here. That's why I love playing early in the morning on Sundays with Mark Swain and the boys, because we finish around 10:30, and I can swing by In-N-Out on right down the street from Sundale and be in and out in like 15 minutes, which is a record. You know, normally it's like literally like a half an hour, literally. So they opened one in Tennessee and they opened at 10 o'clock. People were lined up like the night before, and it was like a 3-4 hour wait for a hamburger. It just, I mean,
really not that worth it.
I mean, doesn't that just say who we are as a country? That we're so fad driven and we're so like, really? That you would wait 4 hours for essentially what? 12 minutes of pleasure? How long would it take you to eat a hamburger?
Nah, maybe 15 minutes.
Like 10, 15 minutes? You'd wait hours and hours just to, and now it's gone, and that was worth the 4 hour wait.
You can't say it's because of hunger, because if you were that hungry, you would have left and got something else.
I'm not waiting an hour.
No. I'm not waiting in that long line.
The longest I've waited, we used to wait at the warehouse in the Marina Del Rey on Saturday nights because it was just slammed. And we would wait like a half an hour, 45 minutes, but they had a cool bar with a band. So we would go in there and eat a little bread and have a couple of cocktails and listen to the band, and it would go like that. But to, like, I don't understand how people do it at Luigi's. Some of us don't have to wait that long. But I mean, I've seen people wait for like an hour. I've seen people wait at Luigi's where I see them as we're leaving. Like I was there when I was waiting with them, got seated, ate, left, and they're still waiting to get seated. I mean, it's food, folks. I don't know. Luigi's is worth waiting for, though. So is Casey's Steakhouse. I don't get that. What else you got before we get to the 5?
Teachers are paid to teach, not be psychologists, babysitters, etc. If a parent is unaware of their child's condition, then they need help. The right, or they should be called the wrong, pick boogeymen. They should look in the mirror.
Well, that's stupid. That's stupid. And you sound like Ralph Bailey, like you don't have any kids, because even me, who does not have any children, knows that kids can keep secrets from you. I just explained how our nephew for months didn't like the clothes my sister was giving him, and he was putting in another set of clothes in his backpack and changing once he went to school. Kids are really, really clever if they want to be. And to make it out to be a boogeyman is crazy. But Teresa Golder has sent me some new information that we're going to talk about tomorrow, which kind of upends what I've reported today. And I'm not going to contradict myself in one show, so we'll talk about it tomorrow. But this thing is going to be a hard fight. I thought it was over, but it's going to be a hard fight. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What else you got?
Our Constitution doesn't mean ish if there's no check on the power. I cleaned that up.
What were they trying to say?
Shiza. Defecation. Poop.
No BS. So read it again.
Said our Constitution doesn't mean if there's no check on the power.
Oh, I see. Well, that's what the Supreme Court is for. As regardless of what Jasmine Crockett says. Have I played that audio? Have I sent you that audio?
You did not send me
where
that
she claims that that once she's on the Senate, that she can oversee the Supreme Court, and that's the role of the United States Senate. I'm telling you, it's difficult to say this because she's an African American woman, and I hate to be on the side of bagging on African American woman, but she's just not very bright. She's just not. I've got to find this. I'm going to search. I got a minute. I'm going to search and find this. It's really old. I found it during the break, where she claims that the Senate can oversee the Supreme Court. I'm not making this up, and I cannot find it. God dang it. And I'm running out of time. One more text while I try to find this.
Ralph, you can't tell me Tommy's Burgers hasn't changed since the last time you were living there 40 years ago. Come on now. And In-N-Out is better than Tommy's. I disagree on the second part of this.
Yeah, that's clinically insane. And I don't think it's changed. The chili is just as good as it's ever been. I don't think it's changed at all.
If there have been, I'm sure that's been minor tweaks.
Listen to this.
In Texas, and we do trading big. We are one of the largest trading states in this entire world. And with that, we know that we are experiencing record bankruptcies from a lot of our small businesses because of the tariff policies that this president has decided he wanted to implement. It is time to rein him in. It is time to rein him in. It is time to implement some sort of checks and balances because he has exceeded his power.
Quick time out. We head into the 5. Don't go anywhere.
This is AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. What's next in deposed Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro's criminal case?
The deposed South American leader and his wife, Cecilia Flores, appearing together in Manhattan federal court pleading not guilty to charges, including drug trafficking, after U.S. forces seized them from Caracas in a daring raid over the weekend. Their next court appearance is scheduled for March 17th. They could ask for bail, but judges rarely grant it in such cases. While they were taken into custody, the government's narco-terrorism case has been going on for years. They remain at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Julie Walker, New York.
Gas prices in the U.S. this year could be the lowest since 2020.
That's according to a new analysis by Gas Buddy. The average price of gas around the United States this year is expected to dip to $2.97 per gallon, down 13 cents from 2025. Gas Buddy is citing strong refinery output, lower oil prices, robust crude production, and softer seasonal demand as the main reasons behind this decline.
Bill Alexander reporting. Trump envoy Steve Witkoff says there's been good progress in talks aimed at ending Russia's war in Ukraine.
We think we're largely finished with security protocols, which are important so that the people of Ukraine know that when this ends, it ends forever. But we also think, critically, that we are very, very close to finishing up as robust a prosperity agreement as any country has ever seen coming out of conflicts like this.
On Wall Street, the Dow up by 484 points today. The Nasdaq rose 151, with the S&P 500 index advancing by 42 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Every day I speak with people who are worried and are feeling a lot of pressure because of credit card debt. That's why I'm very proud of what we do at Trinity. We just help. We give people the support they need, along with a real plan to become debt-free. Credit card bills are consolidated into a single monthly payment that is much less than what they were paying before. Most of our members end up saving thousands and even may improve their credit scores by as much as 200 points. I know from the bottom of my heart that I'm making a difference in the lives of the people we help. It just makes me really happy.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is and I'm a Trinity counselor. Call me and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
I used Eleanor Rigby yesterday, so I was looking up other Beatles songs that were turning 60 this year, and the only other one of name relevance is Yellow Submarine.
Really? Let It Be isn't 60?
No. The album that turns 60 this year is Please Please Me, which I think is the one where they did Twist and Shout, now that I'm thinking about it.
I don't know their albums.
You know that one?
No.
Hey, yeah, have you heard that one?
What?
Twist and Shout.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, no, I said I don't know the albums.
Oh, gotcha. No, that's the one where they're all on the stairwell looking down. They're super young.
The only album I can remember is the White Album and the Yellow Submarine album.
Oh, and then Abbey Road, of course.
Oh, yeah. Is that the album cover where they're out of step?
Yes. Yeah, well,
I just thought that was a famous picture.
John is out of step or something like that, and then he's barefoot.
And I had a college kid who was a Beatles freak.
Oh, the conspiracies behind that is just so wild.
It was a phony guy.
Yeah. Paul died years ago, and yeah, they replaced him with this. Yeah, no, I've heard all those too.
Yeah.
17, and their names are not being given out for now. Coach Prime is coming to town. You'll get your chance to see and hear the Hall of Fame coach, Deion Sanders, who is currently coaching at the University of Colorado, if you attend the Hoffman Hospice's Voices of Inspiration in April. Sanders is the only person to ever play in both a Super Bowl and a World Series, and Hoffman Hospice says the money that is raised there will help them continue to care for people who are terminally ill. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180. KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Tuesday, 6th day of January. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we stream live at KERNradio.com. Don't forget the Kern Radio studios are powered by Adaptive Networks for all your IT needs. Call Adaptive Networks at 661-241-0638 or go online at adaptive-net.com. I keep saying that. .com. Adaptive-net.com. And you're going to meet the owners of Adaptive Networks tomorrow in the 5 o'clock hour. In the meantime, wrapping this broadcast up. I ran out of time, and I didn't get an opportunity to play the ignorance of Jasmine Crockett, Congresswoman and Senate candidate from the great state of Texas. Listen to what she says. This is absolutely remarkable.
We also know that we are in Texas and we do trading big. We are one of the largest trading states in this entire world. And with that, we know that we are experiencing record bankruptcies from a lot of our small businesses because of the tariff policies that this president has decided he wanted to implement. It is time to rein him in. It is time to implement some sort of checks and balances because he has exceeded his power. We also know that ultimately, when I came down to making this decision, the Senate is the one that actually has oversight over the Supreme Court. It is time for us to actually exercise some oversight. And this is the only court, the highest court in the land. It's the only one that does not have any type of ethics that they have to follow. I think that we need to look at that. We also...
That is stunning. That a grown woman who is one of 435 Congress members with a law degree, a college degree, private education in high school, believes in her head, because it's nowhere in the Constitution, it's nowhere written anywhere, that the United States Senate has oversight of the United States Supreme Court? Say what? And she wants to be one of 100. I mean, if I'm Wes Hunt, who if I could find him, I would also like to play, that would be my leading advertisement. Listen to the rantings and ravings of my ignorant opponent who believes somehow that the United States Senate has oversight of the United States Supreme Court. Let me just play this for you. I would say, if I were whoever's running against this woman, because she is beyond incompetent. She truly is. Here is... Oh, I should have sent this and let you edit it. Hang on a second. Let me get through this. This is Wes Hunt.
African American or black man to serve in any statewide offices in Texas.
Well, there's actually also never been an Apache pilot to serve in these roles. There's also never been a West Point grad. There's also never been somebody that has the lineage of my family of 60 years worth of military service. And look, I am a black man that's currently elected in a white majority district that President Trump would have won by 20 points. The color of my skin is completely irrelevant. What people need to know is I bleed Texas. If I'm the first black man in this role, well, I guess that's great. But I would also like to say that I'm a lot of things before you want to talk about the color of my skin. I am a very proud veteran. I am a father. I am a husband. Most importantly, I am a follower of Christ. And that's exactly what Texans want. And I believe that they could really care less about what I look like.
Yeah. That is a bad man right there. Can you imagine he going up against her in a debate? That is a bad man right there. Remember that name, Wesley Hunt. I don't think he's going to emerge. I think it's between the Attorney General and the incumbent, John Cornyn. But that's a guy with a future. Helicopter pilot, veteran, straight as an arrow. Meantime, our girl Jasmine goes into her ghetto speak when she feels like it. She didn't do that today on The View, though. She didn't use any ain'ts and dems and do's and does and all this ridiculous nonsense shtick that she goes into. And like I said, you know, African Americans, we all speak lazily among our friends. We all may speak our different cultural slang when we're amongst the birds of a feather, so to speak. But she does it as a ploy. She does it on the campaign. She doesn't do it at a bar amongst her friends. She doesn't do it in a living room when she's hosting a party. She does it on the campaign when she's in front of certain groups. We've seen Fonnie Willis do the very same thing. Remember when Fonnie Willis was in trouble and she tried to reach out to black churches in Atlanta, and she would go and just speak, the ethnic talk and do's and dems and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Those days of pandering to African American groups are over, and black folks have rejected it, as they will reject her. 842-5376, 842-KERN. The other thing that I had to get to was Doug LaMalfa, who died at the age of 65. He's a 2nd District Congressman out of Oroville. Our thoughts and prayers to his family. I didn't know the man, so I'm not trying to pretend there's some sentiment there. I'd never heard of the guy before this, but the reason it is a story is because James Baird, a congressman out of Indiana, had a recent car accident. He's laid up. He cannot come and vote. If you have forgotten, Marjorie Taylor Greene has resigned. Her resignation took effect yesterday. So the majority is down to 1. And with Thomas Massie and others that are disgruntled with the Trump administration, there is really no majority in the House. There really isn't. If a bill hits the floor, it could go either way. You're talking about 1, maybe 2 votes. This was a big, big loss. And of course, with Proposition 50, that district, that 2nd district that he once dominated, is completely changed. It should go to a Republican, but who the hell knows? This is crazy. As Kathy alludes to all the time, when Chris Burdick could run for state office and get about 40 to 45% of the vote, and yet we make up what? Less than 10% of congressional representation? It makes absolutely no sense that we are a one-party state. It really doesn't. 842-5376. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back. We'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. I'll tell you about this peace agreement in Ukraine, which to me makes absolutely no sense, given that Putin isn't involved, and that, in my opinion, once again, as redundantly as I can put it, Putin does not want peace. Putin wants Ukraine. He wants to be regarded in his legacy along with Stalin and Lenin, maybe Brezhnev. I don't see it. I don't see it. And every time I hear the president say we're closer to peace than we've ever been, well, what the hell does that mean? Of course we're closer than we were with Uncle Fluffy. That's a given. Quick timeout. Coming right back. It's TRBS on a Tuesday night, right here on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KE.
Casey?
Weekdays at 2 p.m.
Oh, our favorite DUI gal got to spend her
double up.
birthday in jail, and I couldn't be even more excited. Miss Madison Williams, I hope you enjoyed your birthday in jail. I hope you enjoyed Christmas in jail. And I truly do hope, like you have claimed, to have found God. Please, please, get some help.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hope you had the opportunity to get into KC Steakhouse during the holidays. I told you, nobody enjoys the holidays, especially Christmas and New Year's, more than Cassie Biddle. And what she has done in there during the holidays is absolutely amazing. They are closed until tomorrow, and it'll reopen for the new year. And again, get in there and check out the Stockyard next door. It's going on like 2 years now. It's been an absolute game changer. They have craft cocktails. They have live music Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. And Jimmy and Bobby are back together in the main restaurant, providing live music Tuesday through Saturday. It is simply the best steakhouse in all of Kern County. The ambiance, the ladies that make you feel like family, and of course, like I said, the speakeasy-like bar next door. Check that out either before or after dinner, or you can have dinner in there. And it's a great banquet hall for meetings, parties, etc. Where would you rather be than on F Street in the capable hands of Cassie Biddle's incredible staff at KC Steakhouse?
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ETHOS.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Sniffles and sneezes got you down? GoodRx is here to help with big savings on commonly prescribed cold and flu meds. GoodRx is free and easy to use. GoodRx is accepted at all major pharmacies like CVS, Walmart, and Walgreens. Just search your prescription, find a coupon, then show your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx is not insurance, but it works whether you have insurance or not. If you do, GoodRx may beat your copay price. Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com to save today.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Can I touch this? Where does sand come from? Is this tree good for climbing? What happens if I mix these two things together? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Storing your guns securely is the best way to prevent family fire, including unintentional shootings. For more information on safe gun storage and ways to keep your family safe, visit endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org.
What do we keep in the attic? What's this thing called? Can I ride my bike backwards?
Like I said, kids are curious. It's up to us to keep them safe. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Beneath the waves in our yellow submarine. I live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine, yellow submarine, yellow submarine. And our friends are all aboard. Many more of them live next door. Live next door. And the band begins to play. We all live in a yellow submarine. Yellow submarine, yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine, yellow submarine,
(842-5376), 842-KER, and all the news we played yesterday and today turned 60 in the year 2026. You believe that? And Paul is still alive. He and Ringo hanging on. We lost. Who did we lose first? Don't tell me. We lost. Oh, Lennon. We lost Lennon. I was a kid. I remember that was a Monday Night Football game. And Howard Cosell broke in. And I remember thinking, what is Howard? Why are they having him do this? Why is he doing news? And he said, John Lennon, one of the leaders of one of the greatest bands in the 20th century, has been shot, and killed in front of his New York apartment. I repeat, John Lennon is dead. I was just like, they gotta be kidding. Like, who would want to kill a musician? And the guy was a fan, right? Was it Mark Chapman?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
I remember correctly.
Or is that the guy that shot the president? Let's find out. Hey, Siri, who shot John Lennon?
The answer I found.
Mark David Chapman. Yeah. And didn't it have something to do with Jodie Foster?
Yes.
He was trying to impress her or some nonsense.
Yeah.
And now he's touring the country doing music.
Sick irony of all that.
I know. How do you kill somebody and get out? How's that possible?
And then go on tour.
And start a new life. That just seems so, to his kids, to John Lennon's kids, to Yoko. Isn't Yoko still alive? Hey, Siri, how old is Yoko Ono? She's 92 years old. She's still alive. And she's got to hear about the man that shot her husband is running around the country playing music. It just don't seem right. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What else you got on the board?
Let's see. I heard on a show after yours, not Charlie Kirk, that one of the sites bombed in Venezuela was Hugo Chavez's tomb. Don't know if it was business or personal.
I hope it was personal. Hugo Chavez was the beginning of the end of Venezuela. Talk about another god-awful human being. Google him. I think one of the reasons, as we talked about earlier in the broadcast, that the sentiment in favor of moving Maduro and putting him in the Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center was because a lot of people went home last night over the last couple of days since his arrest and have actually looked up this guy and found out what a heinous, murderous, despot, drug-dealing animal this person is, along with his wife. So go tonight and look up Hugo Chavez and see what he did to a thriving economy in Venezuela. Again, Venezuela at one point before Hugo Chavez was the gem of South America, more than Chile, more than Brazil. It was the gem. It was the poster child for South American countries. And now it's just been shot to hell. What?
Someone has chimed in and tightened this up, but it was actually John Hinckley, the shooter of Ronald Reagan, who was trying to impress Foster. I remember Chapman was the one that was inspired by the book.
What book?
Catcher in the Rye, right? Wasn't it something of that nature? Because
Really?
South Park made a joke out of this.
J.D. Salinger
as a phony or something of that nature.
J.D. Salinger wrote Catcher in the Rye, I do believe. I did not know that. But I do know that Chapman is running around the country playing music, which just is mind-boggling. What else you got?
You need to get to Luigi's at 10:45 a.m. to get a table.
Not if you're Ralph Bailey. No, I'm kidding.
It pays to be popular.
Or it pays to know the owner's family.
Oh, I meant the restaurant itself. It pays to be popular, not the people that come through there every weekend.
Did you see some of the videos from the holidays?
I did, yeah.
I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I mean, it's just a zoo. It's just like chaos. It is absolute chaos. And yet they pull it off, and they have banquets next door 2 or 3 times a week. It's just an incredible staff. And it just goes to show you, I don't know why other restaurants, like if I were running a restaurant or starting a restaurant, I would hang out at Casey's Steakhouse and Luigi's, because they have 2 consistencies that are a must that a lot of people can't do, and it's why restaurants fail. A, you got to be there. You got to be there. Now, Gino's been doing this for 30 years, so he's created a machine and has finally kind of stepped back. And when I say step back, I mean like 1 or 2 days less than his 5-6 day a week routine when I first met him 25, 30 years ago. But there is the Valprado there just about every day. I mean, you can remember back in the day when I started going there in the 90s, Tonya, the mother, and Monty, the father, were there every day. The entire family was there every day. You can't go into Casey's Steakhouse and not see Cassie Biddlejack or her mother. You can't. That's the first thing. And I think a lot of restaurant owners get their restaurant up on its feet. It's Bakersfield, so you're going to have a big blowout the first couple of months. And then they kind of back off thinking they've got a routine and they can trust their employees and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, human nature is you can't trust your employees. You've got to create a familial situation, which they've done at Casey's Steakhouse, which they've done at Luigi's. And then perhaps you can rely on your staff and trust them. But that's after years and decades. And if you notice one thing about both these restaurants, the turnover, because normally at a restaurant, waiters and waitresses come and go. It is kind of a job you do through college, or you just need some fast money, or you're just trying to do something extra. No, these people are part of the restaurant. You know, I first met Julia Escalante in like 1995, and she's still there. You know, I met Cookie, who's in the deli, in the late 1990s. She's still there. She moved. Her husband was a Condor, and their families are in Canada and Michigan, northern Michigan. She left and came back and loves it. And Lynette left and was a teacher down in Redondo Beach. She came back to the family business. Gino had no intention of getting into the family business. Went to Arizona State, got his degree, played football, thought he was going to get into something different business, started helping out, but a bop, but a bit, but a boop. Next thing you know, he's Michael Corleone and he's running the business. The same, that's why I always say he's the Michael Corleone of that family. Michael Corleone never thought he was going to lead the Corleone family. He didn't want anything to do with it. And then circumstances hit, and bada bop, bada bip, bada boop. Gino's been running that restaurant for 30 years. It's just an amazing story. It really, truly is. You could make a movie out of both Casey's Steakhouse and Luigi's on how to run a restaurant, how to keep it running, how to keep it on its feet, how to keep it fresh. The fact that they both, I don't think it's a coincidence that they both have expanded. Luigi's has the warehouse. Casey's Steakhouse has the stockyard next door. They have banquet areas. They can have separate parties going on that does not disrupt the main restaurant. It's just amazing. It really is. Last half hour of the broadcast. It's TRBS on a Tuesday night.
You ready for this?
What do you got?
Hinckley is actually the one that's out and touring right now, playing music.
So basically, don't pay attention to anything I say. No, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Just listen for entertainment, but for information, go to the internet. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Final half hour of the broadcast, though, I do know that. And after these messages, we'll be right back.
96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Michael Reagan, the eldest son of President Ronald Reagan and a conservative commentator, has died. He was 80 years of age. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute announced his death in a post on the social platform X on Tuesday, calling him a steadfast guardian of his father's legacy. His cause of death was not immediately announced. Reagan was a contributor to the Newsmax television network and was known for his talk radio program, The Michael Reagan Show. President Trump says on his social media site that interim authorities in Venezuela will be selling 30 million to 50 million barrels of high-quality oil to the U.S. at its market price. More details available at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. If you've been following the story of the man shot and killed when he confronted two teenagers who police say had committed a robbery at Foods Company Friday night, the victim has been ID'd as 22-year-old Joseph Macias of Bakersfield, says the Kern County Coroner's Office. Macias was shot several times and died in the parking lot. The Highway Patrol says they caught 92 people not only speeding, but going more than 100 miles per hour over New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. That was part of the nearly 3,000 speeding tickets they issued over that enforcement period across the state. They also investigated 6 fatal wrecks and arrested 379 people for DUI. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I was always tired, sleepy, and had no energy.
I had relentless, debilitating headaches.
Valley fever has many faces and impacts people differently. If you have a lingering cough, fever, or painful breathing for more than 2 weeks, talk to your doctor.
I am Quan Louie.
I am Bryn Kerrigan.
And we are the faces of Valley Fever.
Visit KernPublicHealth.com to learn more.
Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we'll see if our friend Dr. Vip Dev is back from curing people in Africa. If he is, we'll talk medicine. John Cox will be here with the news quiz. And we'll back all of that up with state-of-the-art news and traffic and, yes, weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the internet at KernRadio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Turn my head until my darkness goes. I see a line of cars and they're all painted black. With flowers and my love hope never to come back. I see people turn their heads and quickly look.
842-537-6842-KER. We have breaking news. Michael Reagan, the oldest son of President Ronald Reagan and a conservative commentator, died at the age of 80. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute announced his death in a post on social media Tuesday, calling him, quote, a steadfast guardian of his father's legacy. Quote, Michael Reagan lived a life shaped by conviction, purpose, and an abiding devotion to President Reagan's ideals. His cause of death was not immediately announced. Reagan was a contributor to the right-wing Newsmax television network and was known for his talk radio program, The Michael Reagan Show. Born to Irene Flager in 1945 and adopted just hours after his birth by Ronald Reagan and his then wife, actor Jane Wyman. The young Reagan followed in his parents' footsteps after attending Arizona State University and Los Angeles Valley College. Reagan took up acting. I used to hit golf balls at LA Valley. Reagan took up acting, built his syndicated radio show, and authored several books, including 2 about his personal journey titled, quote, On the Outside Looking In and Twice Adopted. Throughout his life, Reagan also focused his time on several charities, raising money in powerboat racing and serving as a chair of the John Douglas French Alzheimer's Foundation board for 3 years. Ronald Reagan, who was known for trying to scale back government and devoting his presidency to winning the Cold War, died in 2004 after a long battle with Alzheimer's disease. Michael Reagan pushed his father's ideas forward as the chair of the Reagan Legacy Foundation. Michael Reagan had 2 children with his second wife, Colleen. I got to meet Michael Reagan twice, once here in Bakersfield and once in Denver. I was at a thing for up in Boulder, and he was holding court in the Denver airport for some reason. And this always reminds me when they talk about Ronald Reagan's Alzheimer's. It's not a favorite story, but it's just kind of a compelling story. I always thought. Nancy Reagan tells the story that she noticed that Ronnie, as she called him, was starting to show signs of Alzheimer's. And she said that they had a big fish tank. And in the fish tank was a model of the White House. And one afternoon, she said the president came in and his sleeve was soaking wet up to his elbow. And she said, "Ronnie, why is your sleeve wet?" And she said, he said, "I saw this in the fish tank, and I know it has something to do with me, but I can't figure it out." And he opened up his hand, and it was the tiny little model of the White House that he had dug out of the aquarium. And she said she just started crying. He said, I know I have something to do with this, but I can't, I don't know, but I have a connection to this structure. And it was the White House. And I was just like, that is so sad. I remember the day that they announced that he was no longer going to make any public appearances, because when he left the White House, he was still at an office in Century City. And I used to kind of hang out in Century City back when I was living in LA. I lived pretty close to Century City. My dad's Navy buddy had an apartment that I could have never afforded, but he gave us, half rent. That was a great year and a half. I told you there was a group of escorts that lived in my building. There were like 3 girls who were escorts. And you know who they were friends with? I've told this story 1,000 times, but they were friends with, oh God, I shouldn't have brought it up. She was on Entertainment Tonight, not Mary Hart, but the woman that followed Mary Hart. Please stand by. Hey Siri, show me the Entertainment Tonight hostesses.
Here's what I found.
See if we can figure this out.
Nancy O'Dell?
Nope. Give me another one. I know if you say it. Paula Abdul? No. Mary Hart, Jan Carl, Paula Abdul, Maria Manuelos? Nope. Please stand by. This is going to bug me. I got to figure this out.
Nichelle Turner, Kevin Frazier, no.
No. She was a blonde. I can't find it.
Jan Carl, no.
No. Maybe it wasn't Entertainment Tonight. Maybe it was, I don't know. She's one of those entertainment reporters, and she used to come by the apartment all the time. And I never had the balls to go down and knock on the door. But they'd be, limos would come to the apartment complex, and it was a trip. And they were dimes. These girls were gorgeous. They really were. Meantime, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, for reasons that I don't understand, the UK and many of the Western European countries believe that they have moved closer to peace by securing a guarantee that, and this is, I suppose this is significant. I shouldn't just play it off because they're putting in British and French troops in Ukraine, allegedly. I'm reading from the New York Post. President Trump's peace envoys, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, signed onto a 5-point plan with European leaders in Paris today to announce, quote, security guarantees, end quote, for Ukraine if, and this is why I'm hinky, it reaches terms to end Russia's nearly 4-year invasion. Can you imagine that? It's almost been 4 years. Who could have ever imagined that after 4 years, the Russians would only have 20, maybe 25% of that country? I don't know about y'all, but I thought it would be over in a year. I thought those tanks would rumble through the Ukraine all the way to Kyiv, and this thing would be done in a year, maybe 2 to mop it up. But it goes to show you when you're trying to take somebody else's land, when you're trying to take somebody else's home, people will fight to the death. That's why I was reading a book over the holidays about Harry Truman and how the decision that he came to drop the bombs, the H bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the pressure that he got, and the decisions that he had to weigh. That were we really going to put tens of thousands of American troops on Japanese soil and fight the Japanese to the end? And just to give you some kind of sense of the strength of the Japanese, it took 2 bombs for them to say enough. Like when the Enola Gay dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and destroyed the city, killing hundreds of thousands, the Japanese were like, go kick sand. And then finally, when they hit Nagasaki, they were like, believing that we had an endless supply of these things, realized there's nothing else to do. But other points pledge, quote, critical long-term military assistance to Kyiv, a European-led multinational peacekeeping force, additional military aid, and sanctions in the, quote, case of a future armed attack by Russia, as well as mutually beneficial defense cooperation with Ukraine. Yeah, this is all well and good. This is all wonderful stuff. But they're just missing one little thing. And that's the Russians stopping being the aggressors. I'm sorry. I hate to be the pessimistic, half glass empty guy, but I don't know about y'all, but I just don't buy it. I don't think he wants peace. I think he believes, and that's probably right, the time is on his hands, that he can lose as many people as he wants. And what? The Russian people are going to revolt? I think that it's getting to a Hitler level, where at some point in the 1940s, right around 43, 44, the German Nazis started to turn on Hitler and tried to kill him 11 different times. This is really how inept the Nazis are. I'm sure many of you either heard of or seen the movie Valkyrie, which is based on a true story where they thought they had a bomb that was going to blow the sky up. That's the only way this thing ends, in my opinion. And over the holidays, there was an attack allegedly on his home. He blamed it on the Ukrainians. I don't buy that. I don't think the Ukrainians have the balls to go after him at his home, which is one of the reasons this thing is prolonged. They were handcuffed by the Biden administration, who would not allow them to use the military aid that we were providing to attack directly into Russia. Like, what? Rules? We've talked about this before. I just don't believe, we can talk about all these international rules and the UN and the Hague and all this nonsense. It's baloney. There are no rules in a fight. There are no rules in a war. Have we not seen it? Was that within international law when we dropped a hydrogen bomb and destroyed everybody there? Children, women, citizens? Was that within the confines of the UN or the Hague or international law? Are you kidding me? A fight is a fight. And the idea that the Ukrainians cannot attack the Russians is about as dumb a thing as I have ever heard. War is war. War is hell. You know how the Civil War came to an end? Sherman's March to the Sea, where William Tecumseh Sherman destroyed my home state, destroyed the city that I was born in, destroyed it. Go watch Gone with the Wind. It's the climax scene where the North comes in and utterly destroys Atlanta, burns it to the ground, and then took it all the way to the sea, all the way down to Savannah. And the purpose was to absolutely destroy the morale of the South and to get them to finally capitulate and end the war. Hence the term from William Tecumseh Sherman, war is hell. And if war is hell, then there are no rules. There are no rules. Now, obviously, I exaggerate. You don't kill women and children. But again, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because the two bombs we dropped in 1945 did not delineate between man, woman, or child. So I've often throughout my life been confused about this international law and all of this. It's a bunch of crap. It is a bunch of crap. Go ask the dead Cubans in Venezuela about international law. It's ridiculous. Let's go ahead and take our final break of the day as I try to figure out what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. Taco Tuesday. Who's got the best tacos in town?
Honestly, I don't know if I'm equipped to be able to say that.
That place on 17th Street. What's the place on 17th Street, y'all? It's over there on your way to Luigi's, kind of by that McDonald's.
Oh, Super Taco? No.
No, I do like Super Taco.
Super Taco's fantastic.
I had my ghetto girlfriend turn me on to Super Taco, and she's white.
Oh, you're talking about...
She's the most ghetto girl I've ever dated in my life, and she's white.
You're talking about the green building, Tacos del Huicho or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Unbelievable.
Are they open still?
I have no idea.
I don't know if they're open anymore. They might be. I might be wrong.
They have to be. They have to be. Because those are some of the best tacos in town. Ooh, I'm starting to feel tacos all of a sudden. Can't really Uber eat tacos, though. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you can.
I don't know. They just don't taste the same.
Yeah, and then you shove them with the sauce. And stuff on it.
Yeah, and then you show them in the microwave, and it's just not the same. Not the same. Final break of the night. Tomorrow is a Wednesday. Believe it or not, Teresa Golar is going to join us again. As I mentioned, I almost had to contradict myself because a ruling came down overturning the federal judge's ruling, allowing teachers to tell their parents. That's been overruled by a 3-panel judge. Teresa Goldman will walk us through that. Howard Marcus will be here. It is a Wednesday, and we'll meet the owners once again from Adaptive Networks, our IT team here at American General Media. Final break of the night. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 at AM 1180 KERN. We stream live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Wednesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We will break down the ongoing scandal in Minnesota. Tim Walz, another press conference. He's stepping down, not running for governor again. We'll talk about that with Michelle Tafoya, who is in Minnesota, lifelong resident there, and sports figure as well. All that and more. Make sure you don't miss it. It'll be the Wednesday edition.
Whenever you're ready.
Let's do something funny. Didn't we do anything funny today?
Getting Hinckley mixed up.
Yeah, we could make that funny. But I got to know which. So Hinckley
was the guy who
Jody,
shot Reagan, who actually is touring right now with the music.
and was with Jody, and Chapman.
Chapman is the one that shot Lennon. I don't know the exact reasoning for it though.
That's death. I don't know.
Yeah.
He made fun of Jasmine Crockett.
There you go.
Yeah, let's do that. 3, 2. I just don't understand how anybody in the great state of Texas can vote for Jasmine Crockett, a congresswoman who I played the audio for you, truly believes that the Senate has oversight powers over the United States Supreme Court. This woman has a college degree, a law degree, and she doesn't even understand basic civics, basic federal government. That wasn't funny, but and I didn't do the laws again. God damn it. I guess I could do it here. 3, 2, it's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Wednesday TRBS. Well, Teresa Golder is going to make a rare Wednesday appearance talking about a decision that involves parents and their rights at schools, plus Howard Marcus and the folks from Adaptive Networks. All that and me at 3. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRN. I'll see you at 3.
With me, it's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Lovers at First Sight. Love that song. 60 years old. Francis Albert. You know, I watched over the holidays, I watched his final concert. It was in Japan in 1995, which made him at the time. Hey Siri, when was Frank Sinatra born? I believe in 1917. 1915. So he was
80?
what, 80?
Yeah, going on 80 maybe?
Yeah, on his final deal. Yeah, because he was born in December, I believe.
Yeah, so he'd be going on 80.
He was going on 80, and it was so, I mean, it wasn't bad. It was Frank. It was still good music, but it was hard to watch.
So I kind of felt about Ozzy at the end.
Yeah, you could tell. And I mean, he was doing a song. Maybe it was Stranger's Night or New York, New York. I mean, it was one of the songs that he had done literally thousands of times. And yet you could tell he was looking down at cue cards. It was so bad. And his toop was really bad. And so I don't understand how guys like that, with all that money, how do you get a bad toop? You know what I mean? Like, did you know that Jimmy Stewart had a toupee for most of his career? I didn't know that. Like, how come some guys have really, really good toupes that you can never, ever tell? And then there are other people where it's like, oh my God, dude, you have a raccoon on top of your head. What's the matter with you? The Jimmy Stewart one blew me away. I mean, obviously it was late in his career, but I watched him late in his career. He was in one of the first drive-in movies I ever saw was the Cheyenne Social Club, where he is, it's with him and Henry Fonda. His brother owns a brothel and dies and leaves it to Jimmy Stewart, who's just a normal cowboy, and he's got to go into this town, and he wants to close it down, and obviously the town ain't too happy about it. And as they say in Hollywood, that's where the hijinks begin. And he had to be wearing a tube then. He was in his 50s, maybe even my age at that point. 842-5376. Let's read a couple of text messages and get the Samuel out of here.
Ralph, did you know Paul McCartney and Mitch McConnell are the same age? Mick Jagger and Keith Richards are also 1 year younger.
The age thing is so crazy. Have you been watching on Reels this thing they're doing now where they'll take Ralph Bailey at 63? They do it both ways. They'll either take Ralph Bailey at 12, if I was famous as a child, and then walk me up to 63. And they, through AI, they have Ralph at 12 playing YMCA basketball, then at 15 playing varsity football, then at 19 acting a fool at Morehouse College, and they take you all through their lives and you see these people change, and it's frightening. The Bridget Fonda one is heartbreaking because they take it from young to old to where she's now like literally like 220 and what's the word I'm looking for? Unrecognizable. Absolutely unrecognizable. And then there's some like who would I like Goldie Hawn, who's like in her 70s, if not 80s. And you know, she looks like she's old, obviously, but she still looks good, and they take her all the way down to where she was 15. It's amazing. It's just some people are blessed and some just aren't. It's just age is a weird, weird thing. Who was I just looking at? George Gervin. I saw George Gervin on what is it? All in Smoke, Up in Smoke. The Smoke is coming.
All the Smoke.
Smokey the Bear with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes. And George Gervin looks great. George Gervin looks great. And then I saw who's the 3-point shooter for the Chicago Bulls?
Not Kerr, but
no, Hodges, Calvin Hodges,
something like that. Yeah,
something like that. Dude's got like his first 3 or 4 teeth, and then he's got like no incisors, and he just looks like he's 90.
That's what I'm trying to avoid.
No, age is a weird thing, man. I thought I would age better, but it's starting to show, Dad. It's starting to show. And it's just, what can you do? Look at Salma Hayek. Look at freaking Jennifer Lopez. She was on tour somewhere, shaking her booty, and I was just like, that woman is damn near 60.
They had help, though, let's be honest.
True that. True that. Little Botox wouldn't hurt a brother, I'll tell you that. Pull this thing just a little back.
Help with headaches, too.
Got to get this knot off my head. That's the first thing I got to do. But I got to go home. For Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Wrap to you tomorrow.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Trump administration is blaming police for escalating tensions on the day of the Capitol riot in 2021. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
A page on the White House website marking the 5th anniversary of the January 6th riot says Donald Trump supporters were peaceful and accuses the United States Capitol Police of turning a peaceful demonstration into chaos. It also claims the 2020 election was stolen and attacks former Vice President Mike Pence for certifying former President Biden's victory. The White House also touts the president's decision to pardon nearly 1,600 people who were prosecuted for their role in the riot. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Although not official figures, an activist group provides information on dozens of injuries in Iran from recent protests. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports.
The US-based human rights activist news agency estimates the death toll in violence surrounding protests in Iran has risen to at least 35. The agency adds more than 1,200 people have been detained in the protests, which have been ongoing for more than a week. It's clarified that 29 protesters, 4 children, and 2 members of Iran's security forces have been killed. The group, which relies on a network inside of Iran for its reporting, has been accurate in past unrests. The semi-official Fars news agency, believed close to Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard, says some 250 police officers and over 40 members of the Guard's volunteer group have been hurt. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Another good day on Wall Street with the Dow up by 484 points. The Nasdaq rose 151. The S&P advanced 42. More at townhall.com.
What if 2026